How are we doing, chat? How are we?
What?
I don't know if you noticed, but when you make that noise, like 2/3 of the time when you do that, it cuts off before you finish. I don't know if it's because your voice goes so high that your mic just like refuses to keep doing it, but it always sounds like a perfectly cut scream, like whenever you do that.
I'll let you know the truth, Tom. I'm doing that in real life. That's a real life cutoff.
Lord
Sometimes
says, hi, Lord Cuck.
No!
How are we all doing? How are we?
Hello, people.
If anyone puts their combat doctrine in stream discussions before I say so, you will be sniped from the clock tower. I'm looking at you, Stono. I'm looking at you, Krabby and Lehman, and all of you.
Oh my god,
Thank
Linky,
you for the 100 bits. Much appreciated, Linky.
Zarrek,
Hello.
can you give me a full woo, no cutoff? Okay.
She paid for it. It's still kind of cut off. It's still kind of cut off.
God, fuck. Discord's fighting me. It's fighting me.
Welcome to the chat, nutcase.
Ooh, Receptor. Can I share the 4th ed traits as examples of how to grow your combat doctrine? Tom, do you want to comment?
Ooh. I think there's a good discussion to have there later on in the stream.
Yes.
Because I think they're very good, but they're also quite restricting. Because for me, one of the main points, one of the main sort of defining things about combat doctrine is a degree of creativity. Where no two Space Marine chapters should ever have the same combat doctrine, even if they've got exactly the same chapter tactics. So there's something. I think there's a lot to be learned from the 4th ed Space Marine Codex. It's a great codex for homebrewing. It's one of the best, for sure. Not as good as 5th, but still really, really good. But I would say to look at those traits as kind of a guideline that sits somewhere in between a chapter tactic and a combat doctrine, but they are really good, and they do help you kind of understand things. Although I think I can't remember which ones I'm thinking of, but some of them feel like outliers because they're a bit kind of goofy. But we'll come back to that, Cambridge. We'll come back to that. Will we accept Chaos Space Marine combat doctrines? Hell yeah, we'll accept combat doctrines from literally any faction. In theory, touch wood, it should all be the same, regardless, right? In theory, whether it's a Space Marine, Guard, Eldar, Kroot, it should in theory all be the same. At least the mental gymnastics that you do to sort of work out, hey, how am I going to make this? That should all be the same, right? I will say this now. If we looked at your combat doctrine in the last stream, do not post it in stream discussion. We will not be looking at it. There was like 4 or 5 of you. You got very lucky on the last stream. You got very lucky. We will not be... Because they're quite hard to get through. They do take a bit more time. It's not like looking at a color scheme or a chapter badge. You know, it takes a bit of, analytical kind of plucking work. So if you posted yours last time, do me a favor. Don't post it this time. Because we will just skip over it. Thank you for the 45 bits, Linky. For those who want to see a good example of a combat doctrine, look at Homebrew Casual for the White Scars combat doctrine. I believe I have pinned in Homebrew Strict a couple of messages about how to do combat doctrines, but we can circle back to that another time. Thank you, Fisherman, for the 5 Tier 1 gifted subs. Much appreciated, my dude.
And thank you, Brikachu, for the Tier 1 sub for 3 months. Hell yeah.
Oh, much appreciated, guys. How you doing, Fisherman? What's going on, my dude? If I go quiet, it's because I'm eating some prawn-flavored crisps.
No, I love prawn crisps. They're so good. I can't get enough of them.
Well, I've got one of those multi-packs in my... I've got one of those multi-packs in my my like crisps and granola cupboard. And I grabbed it. I was like, I'm just going to grab whatever. And I opened it. It's like, no, there's prawn in here. So I started digging through the barbecue and the cheese and onion to find the prawn-flavored ones.
Oh, dude, I have to ration mine because I know if I don't think about it properly, I will go through the prawn and then I'll have a box of a bunch of stuff that I'm only just feeling a bit okay about.
Mm.
So whenever I get like those multi-packs, right? One little bag is never enough. So it's gonna be I grab like 2 or 3, depending on like the size of a meal I'm having it with.
Mm.
And so it's always never prawn on its own. I have to earn the prawns.
I have to earn the reward at the end for eating. Fucking
Mm-hmm.
weaponize your dopamine psychology. That's very good. Do you
No,
like?
I have to.
Do you like McCoys?
I like a
The
McCoy's.
Ridge. McCoys do a Thai chili flavored crisp, and they're really good.
Ooh, okay. I might try that. I
Monster
gotta say
Munch
though,
pickled onion. I love destroying the roof of my mouth. Absolutely, my dude. You have to. You gotta do it.
oh, I know the feeling. Honestly, I recently have just been doing, the most gremlin thing of finding the biggest bag of plain lightly salted tortilla chips I can get for the cheapest amount, and then just devouring that when I need like a salt intake, right? Do you ever get that need when like water doesn't make you not thirsty anymore, you just need salt?
So basically, you are chronically low on electrolytes.
Probably. So that's what they're for. That's what the salted tortillas are.
That's weird. Do you like? do you? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't like low key exercise a lot, do you?
Well, actually, I don't think I'm doxing myself to say this, but my local city, it's very vertical, as all cities are in Scotland, except maybe to like the center of
Oh yeah, and you
Glasgow.
fucking walk everywhere, don't you?
Yeah, I walk everywhere. I walk miles on the regular just because I'm a little bit sedentary, but I do walk everywhere.
Oh well, that would definitely go at least past the way to explaining why like you would feel that way. You should get
Mhm.
I say you should. You could if you wanted to buy if you like coconut water or coconut milk. It's a really healthy and
Okay,
easy source of electrolytes if you like them.
I'll consider that. I do quite like that. The Beavers and the Dams asks, "Wait, are you're Scottish? That's why you like the Iron Hands?" Possibly. No, I like them for more obvious reasons, honestly.
Someone, I think it was Linky actually. Someone told me a funny fact about the Iron Hands, like 6 months ago.
Hmm?
Did you know that it's a traditional weapon of the Iron Hands Legion for officers and exceptional warriors to be given quote power claymores?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my, interesting.
Uh huh. A power Zweihander
That
apparently. Oh my bad. My bad, chief.
okay. So they're
Sorry,
they're
not Scottish. I
German.
take it back.
They're the Germanic tribes, not the Celtic tribes.
Womp. Oh, right. I've finished my prawn cocktail crisps. Who have we got here today? So we've got Chestnut. How's it going, Chestnut? Rain Seal, Beers in the Dams. We've got Cambrius. Has Linky gone? Have we finally got rid of Linky? Oh. How's it going, Swiblad? So the Relic from the 6th edition Vanguard box. Kind of.
Oh, the big one. I know the one you
Oh,
mean.
fuck, Linky's still here. Shit. How's it going, Kai? You put Linky in jail? Excellent. Sensational.
It'll do that, Norn. It will do that.
So, would you like to tell the audience the rough kind of order in which we're doing things today? Would you like me to do it?
You go ahead. You go ahead. I've got my notes, but yours are probably more complete.
Me? Notes? So basically, guys, what we're going to be doing today, obviously we want to talk about combat doctrines. We wanted to put a bit of structure on this stream rather than just like willy-nilly looking at submitted combat doctrines. How's it going, Silly Eater? Rather than just looking at user-submitted combat doctrines, we want to take some time and look at a couple that we have made, and then after we've done that, we will break into looking at all of yours. So we've got, between the two of us, we have 4 we're going to look at. I may skip one of mine at the end, but we've got 2 from Zarrek and 2 from me. The two I've made in advance. I've shared them throughout the Discord on at least half a dozen occasions, just to show people examples of combat doctrines. Zarrek's one, however, or two even. What did you use? Did you use my things as frame of reference, or did you just like freeball it?
I did a read of them, and then I just freeballed it from there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I've not shown mine to like anyone in the Discord yet. I have been keeping these secret because I want to get Tom's reaction live, and then if there's issues, we can maybe talk workshopping and how to improve them.
Yeah, I actually haven't read the combat doctrines from Zarrek's two homebrews here. I know which homebrews they are from, and I read the last sentence of one of them, but the actual contents of them I have not read. I've kept myself away from them. And yeah, right. Should we start with that? Should we get going? Let me just see what chat's saying real quick. At worst, oh no, even though your combat doctrines were actually announced for the stream about your homebrew chapter, they weren't discussed during that stream. It's really cool we can hear about them today. Well, I hope you like them. Welcome to the chat, Nurgle, Lord of Decay. How's it going, my dude? Yeah, hopefully...
I think we avoided... Sorry, you go ahead.
Hopefully we can all learn a little bit from them. I'm open to some feedback as well. I know that the second one of these... So, for just a context, the two that I've brought to the table today are for... two of my homebrews. The Victorious Sons will be the first one we'll discuss, and the other one I've brought, which we'll discuss third after we've looked at one of Zarrek's, is actually the Iron Gorges. That's Moots' homebrew. That's our beloved Moots' homebrew. Moots and I sat down, because Moots wanted to make a combat doctrine, but you guys know how Moots does his homebrew. His homebrew is events and vibes. You know, he's not a big writing guy. So it was like, hey, Tom, let's sit down and do a combat doctrine for the Iron Gorges. So I brought the Iron Gorges combat doctrine with me today as well. So we can look at one of my homebrews, one of Moots' homebrews, and we've got two of Zarrek's to look at as well. Linky, thank you for the 100 bits. Can we mute David if he shows up? Oh, I think we can swing that. Maybe. We'll see.
I think I'll have to donate more.
Yes, more money.
Are we really weaponizing? Are we really monetizing our chat's outrage at one another?
I mean, if someone sends me like 1,000 bits, I'll like ban Linky right now. I'm joking. I won't. Linky, I won't do it. I won't do it. But I will think about it, and that's what counts.
Bog. Bog. 250 bit.
Thank you very much, Borg. Thank you very much. If we manage to get Tom to the sarcophagus, we muting Linky. Thank you for the gifted tier 2 sub, Swiplad. Welcome to the chat, Full Armor Zaku. Hello there. Been following for a while, but this is my first time watching you guys live. I usually play D&D around this time, new to homebrewing and relatively new to 40k. Also, Tom, have you made a homebrew which have baked beans as a cultural foodstuff? Zaku, I don't like you anymore, I'm afraid. You and I are not friends. Borg, stop donating money. Borg! Oh
dear
Lord.
Why
are you doing this, Borg? Oh, do not ban Linky, you said. Do not ban Linky. Okay.
Do not ban Linky.
Alright, cool. Well, someone's gonna have to, like, come in with a higher bid.
Oh my god. Oh
yeah,
my
alright, cool.
god.
Alright. Fuck you guys. Let's get back to the combat doctrines, alright? Let's get back to the combat doctrines. So, let me just swap over to another screen. Zarrek, you're gonna need to come over here. There we go.
Yeah. Just to clarify, everyone, these are not chapter tactics. We draw a bit of a line between chapter tactics and combat doctrines, where chapter tactics are a general descriptor of the manner in which your chapter fights. That may be a full-bladed infantry assault, much as the Blood Angels or Space Wolves do. But the difference in the way that they do that is what we examine in the combat doctrine, and we do so with plenty of flowery prose.
Yeah. So think about it as a basic. Think about your chapter tactics as a simple means of categorization. There is presumably, without a little bit of fancy wordplay, there is presumably a limited number of chapter tactics that may exist in the universe. But there is an infinite number of combat doctrines that could exist in the universe. because combat doctrines are your opportunity to be creative, to add nuance to how your homebrew, whether it's a Space Marine chapter or whether it's a Chaos Warband or whatever, does war. It's quite funny, actually. The word chapter tactic here is actually a little bit misleading because it sort of infers only loyalist Space Marines, right? But if you think about chapter tactics, or just remove the word chapter, and it's just tactics, right? Then you can apply it absolutely identically to any other faction or subfaction. Lime Games, I'm proud of this, so I'll send again, but if I understand if you don't care. But I played my first kill team game, lost 7 to 9 victory points. Well, that's close. That's close in your first game. Who are you playing? I haven't played any third ed kill team. I played a shit ton of second ed kill team. I was really fond of the various Chaos Space Marine kill teams.
I did enjoy playing with the cultists, even if they were crap.
The cultists are crap. But the cultist being crap is actually your greatest strength. Because your opponent's going to go, yes, this cultist is crap. Until the cultist with a flamethrower comes running around a corner and kills like 2 Space Marines just out of fucking nowhere. And they do that.
Did happen.
They do that. It's very spooky.
Happen. They do that. Oh my god, KX deft. And 1050 bits, Linky did not accept my help, so I want you to kill Linky.
Linky, I'm afraid I am legally obliged to kill you now. Linky, how will I face Deft if I don't kill you? How will Deft and I ever look at each other ever again if I don't kill you? Linky, you gotta chime in here, Linky. You gotta say something. You gotta defend yourself, Linky. You gotta put your fists up and really, you know. You gotta defend yourself, Linky. Linky, they're telling me to kill you! I looked away for 5 minutes.
That was 5 minutes too long,
bounty
Linky.
moment. Let me open my custard creams, then we'll get looking at the Victorious Sons. Oh,
listen, guys, you paid us enough bits. I'm gonna go into Linky's whatever multiplayer game, Overwatch. I don't know. just bomb it.
Linky strikes me as someone who'd play Overwatch. To be fair. 1,000
bits from Linky. No kill.
Well, to be fair, Linky, I appreciate that. I love that. We won't kill you, but I will say that Def donated 1,050.
Bog did give 250 to not kill Linky.
That's an extra, like, 5 cents more. So I'm afraid, for the sake of 5 cents, you must perish. I'm joking. I'm joking, Linky. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But
We're
Linky,
all fun and games.
You used to play Overwatch. I bet you were a Mercy player. You strike me as someone who can't aim.
Oh my god, this slander. Actually, Tom and I were talking about this a little while ago. We both played Overwatch in the beta phase, which would have quite a small player base for Brits.
Oh, weirdly, yeah, we probably played against each other at least a couple times. It's very funny.
Almost definitely. Me and my fucking Torbjorn main. Oh my god, Bog with 5,000 bits. Do not ban Linky. I deny it. Okay, I don't think.
Right.
No. Okay,
right, Linky can
move
live.
on.
Linky. I think with that, Linky is immortal. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read out the Victorious Sons. I'm gonna read out the Victorious Sons combat doctrine. Then I'm gonna explain my sort of process for doing combat doctrines. And then we'll move on and take a look at one of Zarrek's. Sound good? Right.
Yeah.
So, the Victorious Sons, Adeptus Astartes, they're an Ultramarine successor of the Sentinel founding. I believe that's the 23rd founding, I think? Or 24th? 23rd?
Yeah, close, yeah, something like that.
One or the other. Actually, let me have a sip of water before I start reading this out, or everyone's going to be listening to me making noises, you know? Oh, that's better. So, the Victorious Sons. Chapter Tactics. Defensive Doctrine and Siege Warfare. Combat Doctrine. The Victorious Sons do not take to the battlefield, for the battlefield comes to them. In a galaxy where space marines of all denomination are defined by their surgical strikes and ceaseless force, The victorious suns are an immovable object. By the bombardments of whirlwind batteries and precision-devastating ambushes, do these scions of the 13th reap a toll of bodies upon the enemies of Ultramar. Only through the indefatigable teachings of the Codex Astartes did the victorious suns develop a defensive doctrine that could have been wrought by Rabute Gilliman himself. With squads of Cyclone missile launcher rank Terminators, the brand of foe matters little to the 11th cohort of Ultramar. They receive war with the confidence of those bred for endurance, secure in the knowledge that steadfast defense is the birthright of his people. So, one of the things about this that you're going to... One of the things about doing a... before I go into my process, I want to just mention real quick. Your combat doctrine, unlike your chapter tactics, your combat doctrine, if done well, should actually tell you a little bit about the chapter, beyond just the way they do war. It should tell you a little bit about their personality. It should tell you a little bit about their culture. It should tell you a little bit about what they value, you know? Give you little tidbits here and there, you know, just kind of like... I'd be willing to bet, after reading that, you know a little bit more about the Victorious Suns, despite not having read, or maybe some of you have read the index that I've made, well, work in progress made, but I'd be willing to bet that those of you who haven't now probably understand a little bit more about the Victorious Suns outside of their combat doctrine, outside of the way they do war, yeah? So having stuff in there that immediately tells you, or in a subtle way, a little bit about the chapter at large is a really, really wonderful thing to include in the combat doctrine. Not least of all because your reader gets dragged into the universe when they are reading, when they see that sort of stuff. It's not like, oh, I'm reading my friend's homebrew. It's, no, I'm experiencing 40k. You know, and it's a really nice thing to do. So one of the things, let me bring up my other monitor that you guys can't see because I did make some notes. So, and I've said this a few times in the Discord. Chestnut, thank you for the 100 bits, and Linky, thank you for the 50 bits. Linky says, for the machine, Linky is eternal. Even is dead, I still donate monies. Thank you, Linky. Chestnut, 100 bits. Thank you very much, my dude. I wanted to ban Linky, but Borg overbet me, and no one will make sure of that. So here's 100 bits instead. Well, thank you very much, Chestnut. Much appreciated, my dude. No hard feelings, Linky. It was just funny. It was just business. It was just business.
It's just business.
It's just business. You just got to do it, you know? It's nothing personal. Nothing personal, kid. So one of the things for me is, and I have said this in the Discord maybe a dozen times, right? That when you're doing a combat doctrine, you probably only want it to be 2 or 3 paragraphs. You can do less, you can do more. Every single time I've seen one that's less than 2 paragraphs, so 1 paragraph, or God forbid only a sentence or 2, it hasn't delivered. It hasn't had the punch, or sometimes even worse, it's felt rushed. You know, it's felt very incomplete. You know, so 1 paragraph or less than a paragraph is, it always feels a bit, yeah. I say 2 to 3, but even though I say that, funnily enough, most 3-paragraph combat doctrines I've read have actually felt like too much. Felt like the writer is needing to revisit and redo the same points but worded differently, you know? And you don't want to do that. You don't want your reader to read something you're writing and have the reader think, oh, you just said that, and now you're saying it again but written differently. You don't want to put your reader in that situation. That shit's ass. You know? Because Hollywood does this a lot, right? I'm not going to bitch about any particular movie franchise, but whichever one you're thinking of now, that's the one I'm thinking of. But Hollywood does this a lot where they over-explain things because they think you're a dumbass. Hollywood thinks that people who watch movies are fucking stupid as shit, right? Here's the fun part. You're not stupid as shit. You don't need to be told something a bazillion times when you are already interested in what you're being told. You know? So, don't revisit information unless you've got something new to add that adds a whole other level of nuance, okay? So, with that being said, Chrysippus, thank you so much for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chrysippus, can you hear me, Chrysippus? I have a message for you. I need you to tell me that you can hear me first. because we were talking about you in the mod chat earlier today, Crispus. Are you here? You are here. The reason you've got Homebrew Exile is because you were meant to receive a warning instead. I'll take your Homebrew Exile away in a minute. You were meant to receive a warning instead. When we're talking about in the Discord, when we're talking about, hey, here's where you can find things that you should be paying for, don't actually be specific. Don't say shit to people that's gonna get the Discord destroyed by Games Workshop, you melt. Thank you for the gifted subs. Much appreciated. I'll remove your Homebrew Exile, okay? But for the love of all that's good, that's fair. Right. Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated. I'll get rid of your Homebrew Exile when the stream's over. Fucking.
Yeah, it's a big Discord, a big public Discord. We gotta be proper about these things.
Oh, I spoke to the gaming storyteller about this. He and I reckon that the Astartes Anonymous Discord is the most active YouTuber Discord in the 40k community.
Oh,
so we can't be fucking around with around with talking about like where to find illicit material that Games Workshop probably wants people to pay for. You know what I mean?
There is at least one GW agent in there.
You have to assume so. You have to assume so. You have to. If you want to send someone a GIF of Jack Sparrow, that's fine. But like that's about it, right? You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry, coming back to it. So the reason I don't like 3 paragraphs is because often it comes back round to just repeating information but worded slightly differently. I think 3 paragraphs... Do we still unsub from the Gaming Storyteller? Absolutely not. YouTube has tried to kill his fucking channel. You go subscribe to the Gaming Storyteller.
Right now.
Right fucking now. The reason I don't like 3 paragraphs, repeated information, yada yada yada. The reason I say 2 to 3 still though is because I'm not convinced that my personal experience of what I've read from Combat Doctrines is a universal kind of rule, right? All that is to say that I believe a 3-paragraph Combat Doctrine can be done really well. I'm just kind of yet to see one. You know what I mean? But I think it's possible. I think maybe if I really wanted to, I could do it myself, but it's like, I always feel like 2's enough. I always feel like going for more than 2. I mean, one of the things that you've done, Zarrek, that we'll come back to in a minute, is in one of your Combat Doctrines, paragraph, 2 paragraphs, and then a closing sentence instead of a 3rd paragraph, which is it's a really nice thing to do. And again, it almost speaks to the idea that if you tried to do a 3rd, you'd probably end up going, what? Anyways, all that is to say, I think you can do 3. I'm just yet to see a 3-paragraph Combat Doctrine that I think is really good. Never try and do 4. I've seen people do Combat Doctrines that are 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs. Oh, they're a chore to read. They take me out of the universe. They're not fun. It's just like, you're telling me the same information again, worded differently. Or sometimes what happens, actually I say sometimes, often what happens is the reason they've written more than 3 paragraphs is because it's like, oh yeah, we're now going to talk about something outside of the Combat Doctrine in a vague attempt to give context to a previous paragraph. If you couldn't include it in the previous paragraph, trust me, a whole extra paragraph isn't going to make your Combat Doctrine more interesting. Have faith that your reader understands the context of Warhammer 40k when they are reading your homebrew. Have faith that they are capable of critical thought. Don't spoon feed them. You know what I mean? Chestnut, thank you for the 100 bits, Chestnut. I lost 70 minutes of AA fan-generated content today. At least the stream is not just breaking for no reason. Well, it'll happen. In a few minutes, Zarrek's going to sound like a static machine. And
You've jinxed us. You've jinxed us. It's coming. It's on its way.
The only stream where we've had, like, none of that issue is the streams where I'm doing this alone. It'll happen. It's a fact. It's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah, death, taxes, and Twitch glitching the hell out. Those are the 3 facts of life.
Well, I'm gonna go eat a custard cream.
But also to go off of what Tom said here as well, I think it's important to recognize when you should be breaking up a paragraph into multiple paragraphs as well. I think we've had a lot of Combat Doctrines submitted where it suffers a bit from being one large paragraph, and that will, I think, detract from the pacing. A big part of the best kind of writing that you can do is having a good meter. So meter is basically the pace at which you say things, right? And good writing should sound good when spoken aloud.
Yeah. Actually, to sort of riff off that, two things, yeah. One thing, first thing, kind of repeating what Zarrek said. I mean, both of them are repeating what you've said, but worded a bit differently. Finding a tone and deciding on a tone before you begin. So for me, this is very easy because I do an awful lot of, and this will actually play into the second point really nicely. I do a shitload of recorded readings. Every fucking day, I do recorded readings. So I have a good grasp of what kind of tone I like to set is, and it's very easy for me to translate that into my written works. The second point is when you are writing anything, not just your combat doctrine, but literally fucking anything for your homebrew, read it aloud. Read it aloud as if you were reading it to the room. You will be very surprised what you find that sounds good in your head, but ass when spoken to the world.
There are actually a lot of 40k novels that suffer from this. I know in the past, when it's come to trying to do lines, as Tom and I both do, Tom the vast majority, but sometimes I'm brought in for lines, and doing those lines, on occasion, is incredibly difficult because the author hasn't actually thought about how one would speak this all aloud. So massive run-on sentences that have so many indistinct pauses that are fine when you're reading it on the page, but as soon as you try to say it out loud, you need to add like a semicolon or a period in there.
Yeah,
in the middle.
A whole new sentence often happens. You know, yeah. Thank you for the 100 bits, Lord of Decay. Much appreciated, my dude. Right, shall we get back to it? So, not going to talk about the size. I think I've set the. I think I've given you all I can really say on that. So again, the next thing I'd like to do is, and this is a bit nondescript, but I'm sure you guys will understand, is I like to open with some heavy thematic flavor that centers around the chapter in general, not necessarily the way they do war, but also not that, but really something hard-hitting and flavorful. I like to open with something that tells you about the chapter. Oh, Norn! Why are you like this? Norn!
Oh my god!
Norn! Oh my days. That puts us over the limit, does? Yeah, that definitely does. Oh my god.
My lord, Norn, you have triggered a costume change. Oh my lord.
Okay, let me finish this point, Norn, and I'll do the costume change. Thank you so much, Norn. Oh my days.
What?
Norn says, Norn is a muchy, sugly, in a muchy, sugly mood, has some piss. Thank you so much, Norn. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Oh my days. Mr. Uturls asks, what does this mean? I'll tell you what this means. You see at the bottom of the screen, there is a bar. There is a loading bar of sorts, a bits bar, if you will. And you see along that bar, there are 2 points. The center point, in the middle, at the 50% mark, means that if we hit that mark, or fly over it in this case, Zarrek and I must make something we call a costume change, or a character change, or an avatar change, something like that. And then again, when it hits the 100% mark, we have another one to do. It's a fun little thing we like to do to give back to people for donating those bits. And we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, Norn, and thank you, Borg and Linky, and thank you, Fisherman, for the subs as well. Much appreciated, guys. Right, let me just finish this little talking point, and we'll circle back around and we'll do the costume change. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, Norn. So,
audio.
Oh, it happened. It happened. She's gone. It's just us now. She can't save you. I'm gonna touch you, and you're gonna like it. Right, is that better? Talk?
Alright, chat, am I better? Am I recovered?
I may have threatened them in a sensual manner whilst you were gone.
I see like a whoa, an AO, a run, an AO. Tom's been taken by Slanesh. Oh my god. What did you say? Yeah, I don't want to know.
You can go watch. You can go watch the VOD.
Listen, I hear what you and Moot say to each other. I know. I know.
I'm surprised people don't think me and Moots are gay. For each other specifically. Some of the things that we say to each other.
Yeah, thanks to the 100 bits, Chestnut. You did indeed jinx the Twitch problem, and it
Yeah.
will return.
Yeah. Damn it, Chestnut. Oh well, thanks for the 100 bits. So yeah, so getting on because I want to do the costume change because Norn has definitely earned it. So opening with that heavy thematic flavor. We want to know a good chunk about the chapter. So for me, I consider that to be this bit here. I'm not actually telling you about what they do on the battlefield per se, with the exception of like this here, which is something that all Space Marines do anyway. Maybe that. Oh god, I've just critiqued my own homebrew. Oh no. But the Victorious Sons, they don't take to the battlefield, for the battlefield comes to them. And this is something that is often unique to Sentinel founding chapters. If I read something like this in your homebrew, I'll probably assume that it's a Sentinel founding chapter. You know, in a galaxy where Space Marines of all denomination are defined by their surgical strikes and ceaseless force, the Victorious Sons are an immovable object. And the reason I've used that phrase, immovable object, is because the immovable object versus the unstoppable force is a analogy that it perpetually kind of exists in my head, right? And so it's a wonderful thing for me to sort of harken back to here. You know what I mean? So this section here is me opening with some heavy flavor. I've got some comparison to the wider universe in there, but I don't crutch on the universe. I'm always keeping it centered on the Victorious Sons, you know, and how they do things, how they are. Does that make sense? Are we good? Right, should we do that? Should we do what Norn and the others have paid for now?
Absolutely. We'll be right back, chat.
Worstone, no, real quick. Worstone says, a lot of Sentinel foundings are crusading chapters. Yeah, that's true. They don't have to be, though.
Ooh.
We think about the things that are common amongst certain chapters of certain foundings, because there are one or two cursed founding chapters who, as far as we know, actually don't have any curses. Who are just kind of like fucked up with their doctrine rather than any biological element. You know what I mean? There are things that are just, you know, just generally true of chapters of certain foundings in the same way there's things that are generally true of chapters of certain gene seed. It doesn't mean those things are guaranteed. It just means that they are typical, you know? Right, let's go do the costume change. Right, let me go and swap over to the BRB screen real quick.
Be right back.
And we're back. We have returned. Our avatars are a bit smaller than usual. By the way, guys, there's an ad starting in 60 seconds. I have delayed the ads. I have snoozed the ads as much as I can for this stream so far. It will. I can't snooze the next one. The next one will play. I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry, guys.
Chestnut, thank you for the gifted sub. What?
Much appreciated, Chestnut. Thanks so much, my dude. And if you don't want to deal with the ads, just sub. Please sub. I need to pay my bills. Right, so, moving on. Let me just unhighlight
What does that
this.
mean? Zarrek took the fucking kids.
What? Zarrek took... Is that Aragon?
Do I look like someone's ex-wife?
Aragon. Someone just called me... I've heard the Tom Terminator, the Tominator. Now we've got the fucking Beaninator. Brain, you need to, like, actually fucking desist, my dude. Fuck you, man. Okay, and so the next thing I like to do is I like to follow up with a visual, like a visual element that my reader can latch onto. Something to start painting a picture in their mind's eye. Something my reader can read or be told, and the visuals in their brain, the fireworks in their mind will start to go off. You know, something for them to paint that picture in their mind's eye. And so what I've written here is, by the bombardments of whirlwind batteries and precision devastator ambushes, did these scions of the 13th reap a toll of bodies upon the enemies of Ultramar. And again, much like before, Ultramar, Sons of the 13th. Again, we're throwing in little tidbits of information to tell you about the chapter as a whole. You know, if you'd read nothing on the Victorious Sons, except this combat doctrine, you would have a pretty good idea about what the Victorious Sons are about. So one of the other things that's important about this step is that you are trying to paint a visual in your reader's mind, but what you don't ever want to do is start devolving into a battle plan. If you start devolving it, thank you for the 100 bits, Chestnut, I'll come back to that in a sec. If you start devolving into a battle plan, you are not doing a combat doctrine or a chapter tactic, you are doing a battle plan. And you might be saying, Tom, what the fuck's a battle plan? And I think you can work it out, but I will explain. A battle plan in the context of what we're discussing here is when you write a combat doctrine, as in, oh yes, they do X, then they do Y, and then they do Z, and then maybe they do A, B, or C. You don't want to do that. That's a battle plan. That's not a combat doctrine. The reason battle plans are so bad, especially within this context, is because it absolutely fucking curtails the adaptability of your chapter. No matter if you're the Space Wolves, the Minotaurs, the Ultramarines, the Iron Hands, the Blood Angels, whoever the fuck you are, your chapter will be adaptable first and foremost. Yeah? It's not just the Ultramarines who are adaptable. It is all chapters, okay? And so you want to make sure that your combat doctrine flavors their adaptability, not curtails it. Understand? The other thing I like to do as part of this sort of second step where I'm trying to paint a visual in the mind's eye of my reader is to include some abstract or non-abstract 40k elements or items in there. Things that are consistent with the homebrew. Whether it's an Eldar homebrew, Chaos Space Marines Guard, whatever. And you can kind of see that the examples I've used here are whirlwind batteries, devastators. You know, just two, no more than two. Sometimes even two is too much, right? But just some little elements that can make people go, oh, okay. Something they can add to the visual that you have made a bit more intentional. You know what I mean? It's a simple thing you could do. But again, we're not crutching on a battle plan. We're not forcing the reader to believe that something happens in any particular order and these Space Marines aren't adaptable. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything you want to add to that, or do you want to move on to the next one?
No, let's move on. I think you've described that quite succinctly.
So the second paragraph, you want to get a little bit metaphorical with the involvement of your chapter tactics without necessarily naming them outright. You can name them outright. But if you do so, I would suggest you do so very cautiously. I have done so here. Maybe that's another critique of this combat doctrine. But, you know, you get a bit metaphorical with the chapter tactics. Start finding a way to include those chapter tactics in the wider combat doctrine. The reason this is so important is, again, if you said the Space Wolves and the Blood Angels are both shock assault chapters, because those are chapter tactics that they both have, the reason you want to subtly include those chapter tactics into the combat doctrine is to find out how those two chapters differ. What about the way that they employ shock assault differs from one another? So here, the Victorious Sons, only through the indefatigable teachings of the Codex Astartes. So again, we know they're Codex compliant. That is just me hammering home their Codex compliancy to you, the reader. Did the Victorious Sons develop a defensive doctrine that could have been wrought by Rabute Gilliman himself? I have said defensive doctrine, but I've covered it. I've surrounded it in this coat of Codex compliancy. Yeah? And so if we went to, say, gosh, I don't know, the Fists, or what are there any other, like, defensive chapters out there? There's probably a couple I can't think of, right? But you would know from a comparative standpoint that these guys do defense in a way that is very, you know, blue and ultramarian versus that sort of stoic, emotionless kind of thing that the Fists have. You know what I mean? And again, it's a point of comparison that we can harken back to. And again, I've paid homage to Gilliman here because if you're doing an Ultramarine successor that is like born blue-blooded in 40k and you're not paying homage to Rabute Gilliman, what are you doing? So that's the next thing that I like to do. I like to throw out some more flavor to act as a point of comparison. Steel Confessors, there we go, to another chapter that has a similar or same chapter tactic. And from then on, it's just a point of getting some more flavor in there. This next sentence was me being very, I think I was being a bit greedy throwing this next sentence in here. Let me just highlight it. I was being a little greedy when I threw this in here, because I didn't need to. But I wrote, with squads of Cyclone missile launcher rack Terminators, the brand of foe matters little to the 11th cohort of Ultramar. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have put this sentence in here. Because my justification when I did it at the time was I was doing something like I had done in the first paragraph. I'm trying to paint a visual in the mind's eye of my reader. You know, like Devastators, Whirlwind Batteries. I was trying to do something like that. That was my justification. I realized, though, that I hadn't done that very well. Because the truth is that the Cyclone missile launcher rack Terminators of the Victorious Suns, it's one squad. It's like 5 guys. It was me. It was me. No, it was me as a homebrewer getting like buying into my own bullshit too much. And I was like, oh, I love this so much. This one element I've made. I want to force this into my combat doctrine so people know that I've done it. You know, and I did it. And it was like, oh. In hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And to double down on a mistake real quick, was I threw in 11th cohort of Ultramar. I should not have put that in there. Because that is a colloquialism for the chapter. It's not a colloquialism that makes any contextual sense in a combat doctrine. You know,
this is true. You
so
need to understand the context, right?
So I shouldn't
actually understand what that means.
Exactly. So I shouldn't. I mean, obviously, a reader who is like well read and understands, for example, if you read a 40k novel and you read the words lumen strips, you immediately know it's like ceiling lights, right? You don't need shitloads of context to understand that a lumen strip is a ceiling light. But 11th cohort of Ultramar is quite specific. And you can then go, oh yeah, they have this special relationship with the realm of Ultramar. But you don't know what. You don't know anything. You've gotten near the end of the combat doctrine, and there's a big old question mark. You're like, I don't know what that fucking means. You know? So maybe I shouldn't have done that, but yeah.
Well, if I may, Tom, I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, originally the first version anyway, written for your synopsis Astartes, right?
It was.
Yeah. And so within the context of where you'd placed it in your homebrew, it followed on from all of the relevant information with regards to the 11th cohort of Ultramar.
That's true.
So I think this is something that I think on its own suffers, but in its original context, I think was perfectly reasonable.
I think that's fair. I still wish I hadn't done it, even with that in mind, but I think that's an entirely fair take. Mm-hmm. The final thing that you want to do with the combat doctrine, real quick, again, following my process, you want to sum it up. You want a concise summary of everything so far, or maybe apply something new, something that hints at maybe a little extra, something that's a bit external, but still an effect of their warring. You know, so really you've got 2 kind of avenues here, and both of them have to feed into a summarization. We'll come back to that latter part about an external but alternative kind of effect in a minute, but here I've really just wanted that really dramatic kind of ending. You know, they receive war with the confidence of those bred for endurance. And so again, endurance is something that you could have inferred at any point earlier, but I'm outright saying it now. I'm telling you it now. Secure in the knowledge. Again, confidence. They believe in themselves. Again, it's telling you about the chapter. It's telling you that this chapter believes in itself, it believes in its supremacy, and believes in its martial supremacy. That steadfast defense is the birthright of his people. So now we're giving ode to the Emperor, and we're giving ode to Ultramar. We're giving ode to what they're defending as a Sentinel chapter. Quick summary, touches on the other points, and circles back around to the core of what their combat doctrine and chapter tactics are about. You take it easy, Lion. We'll see you next time, my dude.
Bye-bye.
Those are all of my bullet points for doing a combat doctrine. I've posted those in the Discord somewhere, in one pinned in strict or questions, one of the 2. So you can check those at your own leisure. Anything you want to add?
No, I think you have summarized this very well.
Of his people, yes. So, Brain Seal, just in case you don't know what that means, if you've read any 40k novels, you would be familiar with the capitalization of the H in his within almost any context. This means the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
This means the Emperor. This happens all over the place. Oh, of the his people. My bad.
Oh no.
My bad. I will fall on my sword. Goodbye, Zarrek.
Oh, Tom, you should have let me read that so I could trip up on it live.
I've read this whole chunk out several times to several people, and I guess I've just never noticed the there. I just never
Well,
noticed it.
It's an easy thing to skim over without noticing.
But it tells you what I was. It kind of tells you what I was probably going to put there before. I was
Yes.
probably going to write the Imperium.
Mhm.
And then went, no. I want to make reference to the Emperor. I want to make reference to something specific. I want to make reference to the citizenry, or that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Oh, that's very interesting. Right. Shall we move on to one of Zarrek's combat doctrines? And again, everyone, I haven't read this. This will be my first time reading this.
And he can form his prejudiced opinions on the go.
I can be prejudiced live? So mice and men all over again. Right, let's get down here. All right.
Oh.
The Blades of Dominion, or just Blades of Dominion. Chapter Tactics. Codex Compliant. Advanced Squad Synergy. Oh, I've got some questions about that. Well, maybe my questions will be answered with what follows up. That is interesting. I have never seen a chapter tactic like this. Ever.
That's what surprises me. You'd think it would be. You would think.
Well, I'm sure that the combat doctrine will provide context for this,
Yes. Shall I begin, Tom?
Oh, I gotta zoom out. It's not all fitting on the screen. Your combat doctrine's too thick and girthy. Hold up. Let me. Oh my god, it's too big, Zarrek.
There we go.
It's too big.
It's alright, I'll make it fit.
No, it's too girthy. There we go. Do you want to read this?
Absolutely, and you can ask me to pause if we can do a read through.
No, we'll do a read through first.
Yeah. Cool. So, all right, chat. Story time.
Oh, we didn't get
Dominion.
Oh, sorry, I was about to say we didn't get the Rogel Dawn picture ready.
Indeed.
Dominion is a crown, and blades will be drawn in its defense. In an ordered march that turns to 1,000 points, the blades of Dominion mobilize. Through obedience, the ghost of the 13th Primarch divines for them a solution to every battle. But in their souls, the souls of kings, is a germ of defiance. They refuse death, riding off the path of fatality, and stand as ready wardens at the gates of their brother's demise. Synchronicity animates their enactment of the Primarch strategy. A dozen minor deviations from every orthodoxy, made with immaculate understanding, born of long lives. Dominion is war unending. A war that can only end at the hands of immortals. Beings that possess a perfect knowledge of one another, that strike in steady concert. To fight the Dominion is to fight 1,000 armed warrior. Just as 2 Marines attack, another pair or dozen sweep in, every assault narrowing their enemy's opportunity to escape. Then at last, there comes the final blow, once all possibilities have collapsed to one. To such men, death is a choice made on the altar of Dominion. Dominion is immortal. May the war never end.
Goosebumps. Actual goosebumps.
Oh no, Lord! I do that to people. I freak people out with this voice and make them shit themselves.
Have you ever done a hello mother, but creeping up on her? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've done exactly that. I think I said those words.
Greetings, mother.
Literally.
Then a feather-light touch on her shoulders. It's followed by her screaming.
I'll just say
Hello.
and it always makes her jump.
So you never jump in the VC and do that. That'd be very funny.
No, I have to save it. I have to save it for the right moment.
I just know that as soon as you do that, Moots will try to do his own one, and then Aaron will, and then you're just gonna have a fucking domino of people trying to do the same. You know what I mean?
Can you do the cut-off scream in that voice? Also, thank you for the 100 bits, Chestnut.
I think your voice box will implode if you try to do the high woohoo with that.
Right. Let's try it.
Oh no.
Whoa!
I can't do it.
There you go. There you go. Now you guys know what it sounds like if a space marine was on a roller coaster.
Whoa, yippee! I'm having so much fun.
Arms in the air.
Faster, faster!
Wait.
Fuck. Thank you, Bog, for the 250 bits.
I think it's a great combat doctrine. I have two critiques with it.
Of course.
But I'm going to talk about what I like first.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up, my cat's having a moment. Gliggy. Oh, you're just brain dead. Okay, cool. The two things that I really like about it, I like how you have reinforced this idea that, actually, yeah, we'll do good, bad.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you've reinforced this idea that the way they fight is quite seamless between them. It's definitely drilled home. I think it's drilled home. What I wanted to say was it's drilled home too much, but that's actually not what I mean. I would tell you it's drilled home a bit too vaguely to start with. Let's check a little section, for example. So, for example, you've said synchronicity animates their enactment of the Primarch strategy. This is the first time the word synchronicity animates there. This is the first time in the combat doctrine that you really try to drill home this idea that they fight as one in a way that could be quite unique to them. For the counterpoint to this is obviously, well, Tom, I said in the opening section or in the second sentence, in an ordered march, right? I don't think that stands out to me as something that is particularly unique. I don't think on its own, in a vacuum, right? It's only when we get to this point down here that I go, oh, wait a minute, hold up. The author is telling me that them fighting as a single unit, as a single thing that, you know, Brother A understands what Brother B is doing half a mile away without even speaking to him. God forbid you put them in the same squad only a few feet away. You know what I mean? But I think the phrasing here, synchronicity animates, is so hefty that without prior context or anything to warm us up to this kind of description, it feels like jumping from first gear to fourth gear very fast. Which is really funny because alternatively, if we swoop back around to the second paragraph, you've said to fight the Dominion is to fight 1,000 armed warrior. If you had swapped these two around, or at least the motifs that they carry, if you swap these two around, I think you would do way better. Because if we had the context of to fight the Dominion is to fight 1,000 armed warrior, and then later on you said synchronicity animates their enactment of X, it would be like, oh, I get it.
See.
But because you've come with this one, like this bit here first, this sentence here, it's like, before the sentence even finishes, I'm going, what do you mean synchronicity? What does synchronicity mean here? Both of these sentences are great, and I totally see where you were going with them. But you've opened with the complex one that requires context, and closed with the simplistic one that provides the context. Do you see what I mean?
I'm with you, yeah.
But both of them work really, really well. The other thing that I really, really liked, that I'm kind of probably think I'm going to mimic for my combat doctrines going forward, is how you've ended this. I think this is such a fun and flavorful way to close a combat doctrine. You know, Dominion is immortal. May the war never end. It's like, I know so much about their personality because of this one sentence. This one sentence tells me so much about how they think and how they feel. You know, there's kind of a purposeful dourness to them. You know what I mean? This like, I will do this because this is all there is. You know, and there's a pride in that. But I feel almost a sense of stoicism in that. You know.
Yeah, this is like the entire writing for this was driven almost primarily by the philosophy, and I wanted to bake the philosophy into their combat as closely as I could.
Yeah, I think you've done really good there. The only other critique I have before we move on to the next one is you haven't included any 40k elements or items, physical items. There is nothing in any of this that paints a picture in the mind's eye until you've read all of it. So I struggle to be sucked into the world until I finished it, and by which point I'm not reading anymore, right? And I'm going through it again and again and again. It's like, oh, we kind of ordered march. I think of parades. You know, obedience goes to the prime. Nah. Souls, germ of defiance. It's like, oh, this tells me a bit about them, which is much good because it complements this really well. I like this, but again, it's nothing's being painted in my mind's eye here. They refuse, shrugging off, say, oh, okay, cool. I get that. You know, they fight to the last and they meet their deaths with a pragmatism. Okay, I get that, but still, there's no visual before me. I'm not seeing the battlefield. And then we get to here, and it's like, again, we've got a complex element that's not fully explained until I've read following context. You sort of see what I mean?
I think so, yeah. I think my hesitancy was to do with I didn't want to stray into battle plan too closely. I think I was going
absolutely.
too averse.
May I give you how I would have done it?
Absolutely. What you're thinking?
Well, I think it's very easy to get to this point and think, okay, well, oh fuck, now I have to mention insert equipment. You know, insert equipment, insert weapon, insert vehicle, right? One of the things that could maybe have benefited here is to have maybe replaced one of these sentences or added onto one of these to talk about the a very physical depiction of squads. And you actually could have solved this problem with two birds in one stone. The synchronicity animates problem if you preface this somewhere up here, right? With something about giving us a visual of squads fighting in unison, or carefully selected, units, and then naming a unit or something like that, right? To put a visual in your reader's eye of, hey, yeah, 5 Space Marines, but it's 1 Space Marine, really. It's a single, perfectly coherent thing. You know what I mean? Something. When I say an element of 40k, we don't need to be completely literal with the idea of, hey, this is a vehicle, this is a jump pack, this is a bolter, a chainsaw. You can do that. I've done that. Moot has done that. It really works. But you can be a bit more abstract with it. A Space Marine squad. Talking about a singular squad. Bring the microscope down. Hone in on a single thing that is super synonymous to your chapter, but also provides a heavy visual element for your reader. Okay?
I think so, yeah.
So I'm eating custard creams again.
I raid my nacho bag.
Where 5 withstand, only 1 exists. That's interesting. You could definitely do something with that, Lord. You could definitely do something with that. Linky, are there any words that do heavy lifting for a sentence/idea? What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Elaborate, Linky.
Any word can. Any word can do that. It's entirely dependent on the context and where that word stands.
Sorry, I'm still eating Krispy Kremes. Sorry, custard creams. Oh, I'd kill for Krispy Kreme. Right. Shall we do the Iron Gorges?
Let's.
Let's do Moots' homebrew. Okay. So this one's really short. Much shorter than the the previous one that we just did. Let me drink some water before I read this out. Custard creams are actually really fucking dry, apparently. Welcome to the chat, Vivid Moon 2035. Hey man, love your stuff. Just got into Warhammerverse, and I'm really into the Black Templars. Don't get too into the Black Templars there. I love water. Water is good. We like water. The Iron Gorges. Adeptus Astartes. Chapter Tactics. Shock Assault and Mechanized Warfare. Combat Doctrine. The Iron Gorges go to war like a hydraulic machine pressing down upon helpless flesh. An inevitable advance of violence and gore orchestrated with the indifference of a factory line. With no grief or hesitation, each warrior is taught to regard slaughter with cold detachment, stifling the enemy with relentless armor before bursting into sudden mechanical violence. Battle tanks split apart. Oh, pardon me. How do you burp on a custard cream? Put fucking carbon in my custard creams? Carbonated custard creams? A battle tank split the foe apart in storms of fire and pulverized earth. Through the breach come the Astartes with chainswords revving, reducing the enemy survivors to butchered ruin. As smoke thins and dust settles, no victory cry is spoken, no pause is taken. Engines are steadied, weapons are reloaded, and the Iron Gorges move on to the next massacre. Custard cream trying to kill me in the middle of that. Before we go any further, actually, I just want you to entertain me for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
Before I break this down, I want your immediate or your immediate thoughts and feelings on this. Maybe even based on what we've covered so far.
Oh my god, so I ate one nacho and it's killing me.
Oh my
Oh my god. Right.
Thank you, Tired Warlock, for the resub. Much appreciated, my dude.
Oh god. Those things are trying to kill me. I think there is one thing which sticks in my mind. Is that when I hear hydraulic, I immediately just my mind is bombarded with all the hydraulic press videos.
Yeah. Oh. Do you mean like? Yes. Watch how I put this bowl of Smarties under hydraulic press.
Watermelon under hydraulic press. Ooh, jelly, and like my that's my brain connotation, right?
I think Moots and I were more in the live leak realm of hydraulic press when we wrote this. There is sort of this, the ending scene of the first Terminator movie, or just anything like that, right? Where where the press comes down and it doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter that it's a killer robot sent from the future that's impervious to bullets. You put that fucker in a hydraulic press and it's getting fucking hydraulic pressed. There's an inevitability to the hydraulic press.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I would get a stronger impression of that line if it were more along the lines of like helpless flesh squeezed between the gears of cogs or something, right? Because then I'm thinking of like the more classic imagery. There's like the earliest machinery danger stuff, right?
Sure,
with, like, that one Charlie Chaplin movie is immediately what I think of.
Well, the word cog is far more common in the context of 40k synopses than hydraulic.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like 40k doesn't really have many hydraulics outside of like the pistoning gears of walkers.
Yeah, but you hear about cog, the cult of the cog, the etc. That kind of shit is fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. No, I totally get that. I think looking back on it as kind of retrospectively, there is one big problem. And I get what you're saying. I feel like maybe there could be some opinion in there. Some wiggle room for both our takes.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there is one part about this where I feel as though I led Moots astray a little bit. And it's the battle plan problem.
Oh, yeah, coming in quite strong in the second paragraph.
Yeah. Here. This bit here.
It's a really fine line to tread.
Well, because it's technically not a battle plan, but if someone said, "Hey Tom, that sounds like a battle plan," they would not be wrong at all, because it proposes this idea: they do A, and then they do B, and it's like, whereas really what we want to say is they could do A, and then they love to do B, or something like that, right? But this is very factual. This is very. I think maybe that was the tone I was going for. The tone was this is what happens, and you want that, but you also want to do that knowing full well that you don't want to paint them as inadaptable, because you could read this and mistakenly believe that the Iron Gorges, hey, we rock up to every battle with tanks, and then immediately afterwards we start cutting people open. And it's like, well, that's not what they do. So I feel like I maybe made a bit of a blunder there. I feel like that was a point that I could have improved upon. But one thing I don't dislike is the way that this all ended. I think this was a really down here was a really fun way to bring it to a close. As smoke thins and dust settles, no victory cry is spoken, no pause is taken. Engines are steadied, weapons are reloaded, and the Iron Gorges move on to the next massacre. It's this painting a picture of indifference. You know, a coldness that is, but using the word massacre in here onto the next massacre, it's like, with the Iron Hands, there's a cold efficiency, and where the Iron Gorges differ is it's a cold brutality. You know, we're gonna make a bloody fucking mess, and it's gonna be. It might be efficient. It probably won't be, but we are going to be exceedingly cold about it nonetheless. And I like that. I felt like it was a funny nuance. And again, this is the way Moose presents homebrews. He doesn't present homebrews with these lovely big written walls of text. He presents atmospheres, the ambience, the vibes, right? And even with just that, we're still able to understand, yeah, this is this cold, brutal nature, the sound of bones cracking, chainswords revving, the stink of promethium, and total bloody indifference. Right, shall we move on to the Knights of the Blanched Hollow?
Oh, I think we shall.
Before we do, would you like to tell the audience a little bit about the Knights of the Blanched Hollow? I think they'd benefit from it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So the Knights of the Blanched Hollow are a Raven Guard successor, specifically successors of the Black Guard, who have quite the divergent opinion of who Corax was and what a Raven Guard successor should be. They tend to eschew stealth. However, they come from a lineage of guerrilla warfare. And as such, they've adapted it in a very strange way. Yeah.
Raven Guard successor. Woo!
Everyone loves a good Raven. But yeah, they are also a bit funny in that they love to mess with their own appearances. They aspire to the aesthetics of angels.
Yeah.
To them, this invention of the Imperium, this idea that they are angels, not necessarily angels of death, but they are to the mortals below, they are angels. And that has a profound effect, which they've realized they can abuse for the benefit of their own battle plans.
For sure. Would you like to read this one?
Fribble just said,
Off the Raven.
that's fucking great. I love that.
Did you say wahoo then? It didn't show up on the mic.
Oh no!
It was
Discord got me. Discord got me.
It took you out. It couldn't do it.
All right. But I'm gonna begin now. With you all knowing as much as that.
Okay.
How might an angel wage war? He must first descend from the heavens on wings of fire, and make his terrible majesty known. He would surely, with but a word, gather all the wayward faithful to his side, and release the armory of a god upon his enemies. This is how a Knight of the Blanched Hollow comes to battle. Flanked by uncountable devotees, attended by the righteous multitudes, and utterly unfeeling as he casts these bodies into the jaws of hell. An angel's flock are a tremendous resource, but the might of the heavenly brethren is a magnitude beyond. Their beauteous presence inspires insanity as much as loyalty, and the encyclopean heft of their raiments proves a bulwark for their army, matched only by the broadside of a battle tank. While the ammunition of a demigod's weapons is finite, an angel may find that the ammunition of flesh is not. Such callousness is easily forgotten in the dark millennium, but the face of an angel leaves behind something more permanent, a sublime idea, something the faithful would be willing to die for.
I have some big critiques of this.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. And I want to preface this by saying your critiques will likely be drawn from the fact that they are a nonsense chapter.
They're a nonsense. You dare come on my Christian stream with a nonsense chapter? Oh, shame!
Exactly. I found this particularly difficult to write because they suffer from buying into their own hype, and it makes them suffer for real. They are grievously limited, but they will still operate if pushed to it. They're also a product of the fact that they are essentially a home guard, that they are operating almost entirely within the Segmentum Solar, where incursions tend to be smaller.
Just like the Midas. Alright, so I'm going to say one thing with no fucking context, and then we'll circle back around later and I'll give it context.
Let's do that.
This combat doctrine, with a few little rewords here and there, would be an absolutely fucking outstanding combat doctrine for an Order of the Sororitas. I'd like you to just stew on that for a few minutes. This would be...
that makes total sense.
This would be the most hilariously great. Like, have you ever homebrewed Sororitas?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you should do some more of that, because you clearly can. You clearly know how to do that. Oh, that's quite funny. Okay, so there's a few problems I have with this, and I'm going to present these more as questions than as, like, complaints. Do you know, or would you understand if I said to you that this sounds like that they go to war with hordes of mortals?
Yes.
What was one of yours, not mine, your inclusions in the bingo? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I know I fucked myself.
Because I remember you said it to me, and I went, Zarrek, you're a fucking genius. Oh my god, so many homebrewers do that. You're absolutely right.
Is it the combining of
faction
bodies?
double dipping?
Yeah.
Faction double dipping. And your homebrew, the one homebrew of yours that I always think about when I think of, oh yeah, Zarrek's homebrews. Scrap code. It's okay. We're gonna fucking, after this, we're putting Zarrek in the bin anyway. It's okay. She's gone. None of you have to listen to that fucking horrific awfulness. I did, Kai. I did, and I'll do it again. But since we're all alone again, since it's just you and me, you got them pretty ears. You got them pretty eyes. There's Zarrek. You're back.
Have you unleashed some horrible abuse upon them again? They're screaming.
I'm telling my... No, it's okay. Tom's rizzing us.
Rizzing us up.
I'll tell you what, Jakul, you would be the easiest victim. Dexter could come at you with, like, the gloves on and the fucking duct tape in hand, and you would be swooning.
Mhm.
This motherfucker
See,
is
Tom-
this motherfucker's waiting to get fucking kidnapped. Thank you for the 500. There's money involved, Zarrek. Look, I can make money doing this.
Right, so I'm gonna respond with something you're gonna hate, and
Yeah.
it's why I think that it's okay here.
No, you already said there are nonsense. Okay,
Yeah.
come on.
It's because the faction I'm double dipping in is the civilian population.
Okay. That's fine. And I think you've told me that before, which is probably why I've never called you up on this before. Because that does ring a bell.
Yes.
The counter I would say to that, though, is the problem I've just fallen into as you read this out. And that's that no one's going to fucking think that unless you tell them that. And you don't tell that. You don't tell us that with this combat doctrine. My
That's fair.
mind
I was
literally...
hoping the wayward faithful would be the go-to to imply that they are around and that he would gather them to him. But I absolutely agree.
I mean, this sentence is lovely. He would surely, with but a word, gather all the wayward faithful to his side. It's lovely. It's poetic, but it's right at the start of this combat doctrine without further context. It's very like, who's the wayward faithful again? Again, because we come back to the steps, we need to start painting a clear picture in our readers. And again, we come back to up here, where I swapped around the synchronicities and to fight the Dominions, to fight 1,000 Warrior, we present our reader with a clear and non-misinterpretable idea, and then we can get more abstract with it so that they can understand a more nuanced view of what it is you're presenting. Whereas down here, we come back to down here, it's like, here's the nuanced view straight away, and me reading it, even having that context about your chapter that most people aren't going to have, I'm still kind of like, oh no. The Knights of the Blanched Hollow have, like, guardsmen on hand to fight with? Who are the fucking wayward... You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that as like a definitive fact. I'm sat here and I'm confused. I'm like, is that what she's saying? I don't fully understand. It's a bit unclear. This is something you've done here, I think, with this whole section. And again, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Because it certainly does speak to the breadth of your ability to write. But I see this in a few homebrewed combat doctrines where sometimes people go a bit too crack cocaine with the poetic side of things, which works really well if we have a solid foundation that is, can't be misinterpreted. Because it's almost like you've left the combat doctrine up to interpretation, which is often a sign of a good writer when you're trying to write something, right? To be able to write something that has, hey, I'm writing this, it's going in this direction, but I intentionally want my reader to leave it to their own interpretation. And I don't think you meant to do that with this. And that's the question.
Well, it depends how vague you think it is, because I am trying to be vague here, because I don't want to say, they always do this. This is the only thing they do.
Oh, no,
right?
I don't get they always do this from that. And I did actually for a little bit. But by the time you're saying, broadside of a battle tank, I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, these are Space Marines. That's cool. I'm getting that. I'm feeling that. I got nothing wrong with that at all. But for that whole first paragraph, I'm sat there like, oh, these guys take guardsmen into battle with them. Flanked by uncountable devotees. I think the reason why I think that is because in the context of 40k, there's potentially a bit of contextual sort of analogous speak. Because we know going into it, how might an angel make war? It's like question mark. Okay, we're being grand. We're being self-aggrandizing. We're maybe even daring to be a little bit pretentious, which isn't a bad thing. It's like it's like, okay, there's a tone here. There's a tone here. He must first descend from the heavens. We're not talking about space. Oh, we are talking about space, but we're talking about space is heavens on wings of fire. We're not talking about jump packs. Well, we are, but wings of fire. Again, we're being very metaphorical. Every single word has a different meaning. And by the time we get to wayward faithful, I'm like, oh, this is a different meaning too. We're very clearly talking about, cool. The heavens, space, wings of fire. Okay, cool, like jump packs, drop pods. The wayward faithful. Oh, that's the guardsman. Yeah. Armory of the god. You sort of see what I mean? It's like, within
I'm
the
with you. I'm with
within
you.
the context of the tone you've created, which is a wonderful tone, by the way. It's very arrogant, which is very Knights of the Blanched Hollow.
Yes.
Which works. I totally am with you there. I just think maybe we could use another one or two kind of fixed pillars to work as reference for our mental imagery. You know what I mean?
I'm with you. I'm with you. What word choice do you think should take the place of Wayward Faithful? Because I think the sentence structure itself works to introduce the
Fucking
idea.
Imperial civilian slop.
Gather all the.
Which you know what's funny? When you say Wayward
perhaps-
Faithful, even with the context that you've described, I still don't think of the civilian population.
No.
No, when I think of Wayward Faithful, actually, it comes back to the Sisters of Battle and the bullshit they pull. Because they'll sometimes
Oh.
like, hey, beastmen, you want to be redeemed because you were born wrong? Come die with us. That's what I'm thinking. You know.
I'm starting to think perhaps in its place it should be pitiful wretches, right? You are. I'm trying to aim for like this is the bottom, the dregs.
Yeah.
what's left.
Because Wayward Faithful, there's kind of a hope to that, and that hope incites the brain to go, oh, they could be anyone. But you want it to be the bottom of the barrel.
You're so right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's definitely better.
Yeah.
I don't know if it fully fixes the issue, but I think that's infinitely better. Yeah, for sure. Yell Linky when you're ready. Linky, didn't we do yours last week? Or the week before, even? But no, I think this is a very good combat doctrine. I love how poetic it is. I love the tone you've set. It's so fucking arrogant.
It's very fun to write in an arrogant way.
Well, yeah, because you say things like, such callousness is easily forgotten. And it's like, you could almost picture like someone like Fulgrim saying that and scoffing.
Yes.
You know, there's an undeniable tone here of, we're better than you. Hello, monkeys. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so kind of fucking self-aggrandizing. See, I was supposed to be Carmine Crusaders, inspiring the unwashed masses. Oh no, they stinky. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Right, should we? And I'm not saying to start posting them in stream discussions chat. I'm not saying. I'm talking to Zarrek. All right, fuck off. Should we start looking or making a move towards the user ones, the submitted ones?
I think we shall begin considerations.
I do like the tone of this though. I just want to say one more time, it's very fun. I think because we've done through 4 right now, and all 4 of these we've plucked apart. And it does speak to, and again, this is why a combat doctrine is so special compared to something like a chapter tactic, because you can see undeniably the kind of creativity that's gone into this, you know. Hold up, Norn's just sent me a very unnerving DM. I'm not doing that. Norn wants me to make a Boondocks reference the next time your mic cuts out. But yeah, no, it's very good. It's very good. And I think it does. It speaks to the kind of like individual creativity that can be found.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that it's a very it's such a fun opportunity to explore your chapter in the way that, really, let's be honest, you want to explore them.
Yeah.
You get to be verbose. You get to be, they get to be magnificent, right? They get to be the main character in this.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at the tonal difference, I'm actually gonna fucking throw the Blaze of Dominion in the bin for a minute. But if we look at the tonal difference between the other 3, the Knights of the Blanched Hollow, there is this arrogance. There's this arrogance, this self-aggrandization, but it's quite like it's very la-di-da, hoity-toity.
Yes.
And then we go to the Iron Gorges. It's fact, cold, you know, violence, brutality, but with this undertone of just pure like absolute frosty indifference. And then we go to the victorious sons, and we do have a bit of that self-aggrandization that was present with the Knights of the Blanched Hollow. But it's a loyal, it's very loyal. It's very like, no, we give ode to our betters. It's very like a typical Space Marine thing. It's very like we love our Primarch. We love what we do. We are honored. You know, versus the kind of we're throwing these civilians in the fucking meat grinder that the Knights of the Blanche, you know what I mean? And so the tonal difference between these three is really wonderful because it shows you why doing a combat doctrine this way is so important, you know, or so special at the very least, because again, it's like these chapters. You didn't say that guerrilla warfare and information warfare. Really, you meant propaganda, is what you meant.
Yes, but how else do you describe that as a tactic, right? It's information warfare. And that's what the final line is about. It's the idea that they leave behind to inspire the faithful once again.
Yeah.
It's about this pattern that they repeat, that by going out and saving worlds at the cost of their civilian populations, they're remembered by the survivors, and what remains is not the brutality, but the sublime idea, which allows them to take advantage of it again.
Yeah. Tim, thank you for the 200 bits. Tim says, I've come to realize what I have wrote is 90% hype poem and 10% doctrine. That's a fun way of looking at it. I would try and get that 10% up and that 90% down a little bit. But that's if you wanted to grossly oversimplify something and lose the fucking nuance, yes, that is a way that you can do it. I would not do it that way, but contextually, you can, I suppose.
Your combat doctrine is an opportunity to aura farm.
It actually fucking is.
It is.
It is, unless you are the fucking... No, I was about to take the piss, but all four of these do actually do that to varying degrees really well.
Yeah. I think a good combat doctrine is a bit of an aura farm. It is... Like, you could read this over footage of your guys fighting with a funk edit, and it would, and people
well, even then,
go, this is hard.
That's actually really cool. I might do that. But even then, imagine if you had a combat doctrine that was centered around sacrifice, lamentation, penitence. You know, you could do that, and you could set a tone. You could set a tone that would really work for that. It would still feel like an aura farm though. Try to make one of these for the Lamenters.
Oh, Tom. Oh.
it would feel like more of an aura farm than the others, wouldn't it?
Well, really, what combat doctrines are doing is almost exactly what the same thing the Emperor did in that big speech, right? Like, these shall be my finest warriors.
Yes.
Like, that's the same thing, and people already made funk edits of that.
So again, everyone, if we did yours the last time we did combat doctrines, do not fucking put it in stream discussion. Do not. We will not look at it. And I will slap you in the nuts if I see yours in there. If we haven't done yours before in a previous stream, then obviously, you know, you are welcome to. Do you want to do the countdown, Zarrek?
I shall.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Lamented you're being killed.
Uh-oh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's going in stream discussion, Kalinectes.
I can say safely, Lamented, we are not doing yours.
I'm sorry, Lamented, you jumped the gun.
We are not doing yours, dog. It's not happening. I have shouted at chat like 3 or 4 fucking times. I have shouted at chat. You fucking put it in early anyway.
Oh, someone's asking, will this be going on the AA After Dark channel?
It will. It will. It absolutely will. Yes, because I'm starting to wrap my head around like doing that shit properly. I would put the others up, but they're all lost now, except for the fucking bingo one. Bingo one is up. Some streams won't go on the VODs. Like, if it's just me fucking around solo playing video games, I'm not going to put a fucking VOD up of that. But if it's when Zarrek and I, or Moots and I, or Snizzy, or whoever, like, we all get together with, like, hey, we've got an idea, we want to present this as a thing, that sort of stuff will go up on the channel. But if it's just one of us fucking around on, like, some video game, then probably not. Okay. So, where are we starting?
You know, I don't think we did do Linkies last time. Let me check.
Linky, what the fuck is this format? Alright, let's put
Linky, you have 10 seconds to add a header.
Linky, what the fuck is this format? Is this like a fucking haiku? Have you written a fucking haiku?
Oh my god.
Linky, what the fuck?
Is it a haiku?
It's a haiku. Alright, let's read it. Do you want me to take this one? You take the next one?
Yeah.
No, there's no header, no nothing. Nothing. Alright. The Silver Hammers are as relentless as the tool from which they take their name. Driven ever. Forward with... What the fuck is this format, Linky? This is copied verbatim. You just have it... Oh my god. Let me...
She copied it from a PDF.
I'm rewording this. The fuck?
She's copied this from a PDF, and that's all the... It's copied from my iPhone. I just got the flashbang memory of my fucking property manager, like, sending me emails at like 7 at night, and every email is like ended with "sent from my iPhone."
Reminds me of, like, one of my buddies in secondary school who, like, signed up to all these email. So this was from a long time back when you probably don't remember MSN, do you? You're too young for that.
I was a little... No, I just missed that.
No.
I was around for TeamSpeak, but not MSN.
RuneScape, good old TeamSpeak. One of my buddies had signed up for his email, like, portal logins using his MSN email address, which was something fucking stupid like Hitler 9/11.
Oh my god.
And worked out like 8 months down the line why no one was contacting him back. Oh, right, let's do this. So, the Silver Hammers. The Silver Hammers are as relentless as the tool from which they take their name. Driven ever forward with righteous indignation, they conducted wars against the foes of the Imperium with swift and divine justice. Yet, the chapter is not careless in its pursuit of the God Emperor's enemies. Every strike deliberate, every assault coordinated. They commit without reservation, laying down their lives in the name of the Emperor and his people. Faith and sacrifice, these are the tenets the chapter holds above all. For the battlefield is their chapel, and war their gospel. I mean, it's one paragraph, and as I said at the start, it's missing just fuckloads. There's also a problem here I've noticed, is that you change your tense like twice halfway through the fucking thing. You go from present tense to past tense back to present tense, which is fucking weird. Linky, it's fine, but this isn't a combat doctrine as much as this is like the fucking layout for a combat doctrine. This doesn't even feel like a first paragraph. It feels like a second paragraph. I feel like all the stuff that's meant to come before this is missing. I'm not really sure how to... I'm sorry, Zarrek. I'm not really sure how to add feedback to this because we're kind of just missing so much.
It does suffer from being short. I think what it really needs is some imagery, right? I don't think we have any real imagery. Like, we have the mention of a chapel towards the end, but there's not much to like cling on to. And I can't say I necessarily know how it is they fight. I know that they are zealous. There's this zealous idea in here. And that they are they're exacting, they're deliberate, every assault coordinated.
It's kind of like a bit of a problem there, though, because even though we've only got one paragraph, you're beating that same motif over the head in one paragraph. righteous indignation in one part. In that same later on in that same sentence, swift and divine justice. You make reference to the God Emperor, not the Emperor, not his, the God Emperor. We come on faith and sacrifice, chapel, gospel. It's like the same thing as a bam, bam, bam. It's, just repeated throughout. Which is why I say this feels like a second paragraph rather than a first, because it's like, all right, cool. The first paragraph is going to give us our visual imagery. There's something that we can latch onto and get something going in our mind's eye, right? And then the second paragraph will come in and tell you what they're really all about. It'll hint at their culture and their beliefs, right? Which is why I said this feels more like a second paragraph than a first one,
I think what it's missing ultimately is peculiarities, right? It needs a little bit more intrigue here. I need to hear something that is strange, right? We've got some good exceptional details standing out, like the fact that they are very religious. They revere the emperor as a god.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to cling to at the minute.
Yeah.
Now I know because of what else I've seen of them that they have being an Iron Hand successor, they have a lot of bionic stuff going on, and how that crystallizes into their individual identity would be very interesting. I also know, Linky, that if I recall correctly, sacrifice is an idea that's very important. I see it mentioned there. But I think what we need is, I guess, an example of sacrifice, the way that they would sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, again,
in my mind, right?
Visual elements, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking you want that moment from the end of the Dawn of War 1 opening animation, right?
Ooh.
Where the banner bearer marches up the hill to plant his flag and die.
The show don't tell, right?
Yeah, an image like that in my mind would go a long way to impressing their values upon me than saying faith and sacrifice. These are the tenets the chapter holds, because you are giving me the image of it. It's not so much a descriptor as it is a painting, and this is your opportunity to use your most flowery language possible.
Yeah. To just latch on to one thing that Zarrek said there that what both of us kind of said before we move on real quick. Again, show, don't tell. So when you put sentences like, these are the tenets chapter holds above all, like this is the actual epitome of telling and not showing. Yeah. You're like, hey, this is there is nothing in here for the mind to grasp onto. You are talking at your reader. You're not giving them something to play with and to visualize. I will, because Linky gets special treatment, I will read your follow-up when you have a chance to rework this. I will be interested to see what you do with this feedback. Right, should we move on to the next one? I want to get through a few more this time than we did last time.
Yes. Yeah, I just want to quickly say, actually, I think the battlefield is their chapel, war is their gospel would be a great opening, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I might reword it a bit differently. On its own, it feels a bit. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, actually, it makes a really good closer as well, to be fair.
It is. Like, if it was a line on its own, the battlefield is their chapel, war is their gospel.
Yeah. Right, Tarnished, are you with us? Do we have the Tarnished in the room with us? Are you here?
Oh, there we go. I'm not mean to you, Linky. Don't be like that. You know I'm not.
I am.
Tom is. I'm not.
Yeah. But you're never going to accuse me of being dishonest with you, Linky. And you know I want you to improve, so you'll be fine. Right.
I'm not mean. You all love me.
fucking Blanche Hollow fucking activities over here. Alright, I will say before we go fucking anywhere, Tarnished, do not do this with the fucking title of your fucking warband. Because either you know how to pronounce the accents on these characters, in which case you know that 90% of the people viewing this do not know how to pronounce these, or you don't know how to pronounce the accents on these characters, in which case you still know that no one knows how to pronounce these.
If I understand correctly, British is South American, if I understand. So they do know how to pronounce these.
Oh, actual fucking this is like the Aztec homebrew shit all over again. It's like, you know that no one knows this. Tarnished. You're getting your nuts slapped. Right, moving on. Combat chapter tactics, mechanized recon, and shock and awe. Mechanized recon. Oh, it's Imperial Guard. Oh, they're guardsmen.
Yes.
We love guardsmen.
Bit different. Combat tactics.
Zarrek,
not
please.
chapter
Yeah. You want to take this one?
Wonderful. Of course. Protege, before I begin, could you please tell me how to pronounce the first name? I think you've told me before, but I do not remember.
No, you know what? They're not called the fucking Backward Bandits. Because of your sin, they are simply known as the Backward Bandits, and their homeworld is now called Backward. You have suffered for your crime, and you will continue to suffer until you learn your lesson, old man.
Yo, fuck.
I accidentally just started Filmora. Go away. There we go. Right.
What the Filmora thing? I'm gonna be reading this, and yeah, it's just gonna appear. Fucking Filmora. Right. Okay, back good. I'm pretty sure. I'm so sorry. I can no longer say it. Tom has changed it. I begin. I apologize.
The regiments that make up the Backwoods Bandits are, no matter the regiment type, always trained with the ideas of being fast and brutal in battle. A battlefield to the convict infantry of the Backward Bandits is not just a series of objectives or tactical decisions, but their personal raiding grounds and a chance to achieve redemption through their savagery. Only through the effort of noble-born officers, keen-eyed commissars, and threats of tank and knight are the rowdy soldiers corralled towards large engagements and active battles. It is through waves of light vehicles and mounted units, leading the charge of massed transports, carrying companies of eager soldiers towards battle, that the men and women of Backwood bring redemption to their crimes and glory to the lords of their home system. They are a tide of bodies and guns that lay waste to groups of enemy soldiers, supply lines, and centers of importance, with little to no care for the collateral damage they commit. For it is the will... Are my screens covering this?
There.
For it is the will of their lords and of the Emperor to see their enemies dead and pillaged.
Real quick, Cambrius just made an interesting comment. Anyone else know who Sam Witwer is? Because I'm absolutely getting that, Cambrius. That's a very interesting plug. How are you enjoying Maul? You having a good time with that? You enjoying it? I think this combat doctrine is boring. I think it's really boring. It's fine. There's nothing like wrong with it, but there's absolutely nothing that sticks out to me as particularly interesting here. I feel this feels very much like a report rather than a piece of creative writing. And you could argue, well, Tom, that's the intentional tone, which I would say is fair. But I still feel quite like, you know, I'd also want to shine a spotlight on this. That your guard homebrew does not have that. That is not something that exists in your guard homebrew. Your guard homebrew does not come resplendent with Imperial knights. You are making guardsmen, not a knight household or an admech knight household. So unless knight means something else, and if it does mean something else, it shouldn't be here in your combat doctrine because that's just really fucking confusing. Like for obvious reasons, so threats of tank and knight. It's like, well, I don't know. The problem is like a commissar's not enough. Is the commissar not enough on this? You know what I mean?
They should be. If they're not enough, they're doing a bad job.
Because then the question is like, what's the chapter really like? Not the chapter, sorry. What are these guys really like? Are they dipshits who like flee constantly?
They are, from what I understand here, penal. This is a penal guard regiment,
which is fine. That's fine. I mean, that's cool. I don't know. There's a lot going on here that seems very incongruent. It's almost like you jump from one sentence jumps to the next sentence, and there's no real connecting themes or motifs. The regiments.
I think it's too literal. It's too literal, is what it is. It's a very specific. It's a very specific description of them, and like as Tom said, this would be perfect for like a descriptive place in a report that you could slot into an Imperial armor style book of a conflict, right? If you're just going to describe them, but that's not necessarily what we're aiming for here. Because we've been going through a few to maybe help give you guys the right tone, the right level of floweriness that we're aiming for. And I think there's a few sentences in here that I really like, but otherwise I think there needs to be a bit more imagination embedded in the way that they're described, right?
Yeah.
Because to describe literally what they do, I think is to diminish how inventive you can be with them.
Prodigio, just like how I criticized Zarrek for force fucking civilians into Knights of the Blanched Hollow, you should not be mentioning allies in a combat doctrine. It is true that the Ultramarines very regularly fight alongside the Ultramar Auxilia. It is very true that the Black Templars typically fight alongside the Armageddon Steel Legion, etc., etc. There's a billion cases where a faction has a very common and recurring collaboration with a separate faction. You would not expect to find that other faction in the combat doctrine of the original faction. If you read the combat doctrine for the Ultramarines and you spotted something in there, like 2 paragraphs on the Ultramarines, and someone forced the Ultramar Auxilia in there, it would be fucking weird. If someone tried to force the Armageddon Steel Legion into something about the Black Templars, it would be fucking weird. Your combat doctrine is there to support your homebrew, which needs to stand on its own 2 feet. Yeah? That said, I do get what you were going for, but this is the kind of thing that belongs somewhere else in your document, not in the combat doctrine. Because remember, your combat doctrine is here to tell us about your homebrew, not about its allies. Why are these custard creams so fucking dry?
You just get, it's just all crumbs. It's crumbly.
Yeah, but there's sugar, so I keep going for them. Dopamine,
Mm-hmm. Now, Prodigy, if I was going to give you like a direction that I think you should go in for your next pass here, I really like the direction you're going with the idea of treating the battlefield not as a series of objectives and tactical decisions, but as a personal raiding ground. That's a really nice way to envision them. If that's what you're going for, buy into that, go with that idea, and tell us how they make the battlefield their raiding ground.
Yeah.
Tell us what it is they go for, what shinies they like, how they might like barter with each other and beat each other up for the things that they raid.
Yeah, for sure. It's a tough one because I think I want to circle back very quickly before we move on to something that Zarrek said. You are very literal with this. It's like honestly, you could break the sentences here up into bullet points and it would read exactly the same. So definitely take some time to read some fluff material, some poetic material, something that has some emotion in the writing, and just try to incorporate some of that into this, because you do have a skeleton here that you can work with, I think penal regiments are really fun. Maybe you should mention that. Mention it's a penal regiment. Talk about that in a way that in the sort of brutal and horrifying, cowardly soldiers, right? Although we do have a bit, well, I say that, we have something here. We've put so much emphasis on making sure that the commissars are supported. So it's like, oh, these guys run away a load. And then it's, transports of companies of eager soldiers. It was like, yeah, I'd really take a step back, try and work out what themes and motifs you want in here, try and abandon some of that contradictory stuff, and really get some more fluff and flavor in there. Right, let's move on to the next one. Who's the next one? I've not got the right tab open on my other screen.
Looks like Cambrius.
Cambrius? Cambrius! 4 paragraphs? Are you having a bubble? Oh, Cambrius, I'm about to dog on you, bro. Just for context, Cambrius is one of our fucking mods. and a mod for the AA Discord. Bro, you're about to get fucking slapped in the nuts. Right, let's get Cambrus's in here. 4 fucking paragraphs, dog.
The next one is 4 paragraphs too. However, I do think 2 of those paragraphs are just lines.
No, that's fine. That's fine. This is Cambrus. You're actually getting slapped in the nuts. I'm going to call it now before I even read anything here. I'd be willing to bet that, like, oh, hello, Gliggy. He's just put his paw on my foot. I'd be willing to bet that the problem with this is going to be that a lot of this information here is either repeated or only exists to provide context for other information because the document doesn't stand on its own 2 feet.
I would be excited if this doesn't do that. If this doesn't do that, I would be very impressed.
I mean, again, I said at the start of the stream that I don't particularly like. I'm weary of combat doctrines that have 3 paragraphs because I always find when I try and do 3, it's always like I'm repeating information, it's weird, or I'm writing information to justify other information, so it ruins the tempo. And then I said at the end, it's like, oh, never do 4 because then you're almost guaranteed to do some bullshit with 4. All right, let's have a read. The Demolishers, the great chapter name, by the way, Cambrus. It's a great chapter name. The Demolishers. It's a lovely, lovely, simple name. Specialization / chapter tactics, asset eradication, heavy firepower advancement. Another fun way of, like, I love how we like find wonderful ways of rewording, like, mechanized warfare, or oh, heavy firepower advancement. They demolish things. That's why they're called the Demolishers. Oh my god!
Demolishers!
Because they demolish things. Oh my god! Asset eradicate. They demolish things. Oh my god! Damn, sick chapter name.
He's blood angeling.
he's. Oh god! All right, cool. A feared name in the Segmentum Obscurus whenever deployed. The Demolishers are a chapter built around the singular purpose of the absolute eradication of any enemy of the Imperium, thus ensuring it does not return to threaten the Emperor's domain again. Descending from the Black Templars... Alright, we're moving on. Descending from the Black Templars. Cambrius, are you Actually, someone slapped this man in the peenar. Descending from the Black Templars... There are no Black Templar successors, Cambrius. They need no successors, you... Ah! Why is it that the people I like are, like, the most annoying motherfuckers in the fuck... And before someone links me to that one page on the Lexiconum, that's somebody's homebrew from Games Workshop. That's not a real chapter.
Still Confessors.
No, there's another one. They're blue. They're kind of like a turquoisey blue. It's like, it's just the homebrew from some pencil pusher.
Look, if they're real... Then so are Thousand Sons Jin. Don't get me started.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay, peace and zen. Peace and zen. Peace and zen. Cambrius, why are you like this? All right. They carry the same fiery, righteous zeal of their ancestry, which has made them ideal allies for inquisitorial age. Oh my god, fucking hell. Oh my god, Linky, I was way too harsh on you. Holy shit. Linky, I was way too harsh on you.
Guys, I so rarely hear Tom being remorseful about things like this.
He's fist fucked the fucking Inquisition. Oh yes, the Inquisition like us into his combat doctrine. When did you write this? This was written in 2009. Yeah, I can tell. He's forced the Inquisition into the first paragraph of his combat doctrine. You've put this in here to troll me, Cambrius. You've actually put this in here to trigger me, dog.
Guys, I should pull out my old homebrew.
Black Templar successor, beloved by the Inquisition, is first paragraph. I don't want to read anymore, Zarrek. I don't want to read any more of this. I want to stop. So bad. All right, convinced in their actions being the will of the Emperor and his judgment to those who disobey his will or whose existence is intolerable. I just want you to know, Cambrus, I'm going to read this, and I'm not providing any feedback. We're reading this, and we're moving on. He says, this is more of a warning of from history. All right, good, cool. Guys...
That sentence is 3 lines long, and the next sentence is 4 lines long.
I can't read this. And keep in mind, I've shrank the font to 9, by the way, to make this fit. The font has been... Anyone watching the YouTube VOD, by his own admission, this is a cautionary tale of what not to do. The Demolishers rely on utilizing their most powerful ordnance at their disposal to wipe clean any stain of Xenos, Demon of Heretic, from the battlefield and beyond. Their destructive method of warfare has led to the chapter being censured, but I thought they were friends of the Inquisition! For the catastrophic amount of collateral damage caused in their methodology of warfare over the millennia. My god, Cambridge, in 2009, were you, like, allergic to the word concise? If I, like, showed you the word concise in 2009, would you have, like, developed leprosy or something? And have earned the contempt of various chapters within the region from where they perform their duties. Oh my god. Armed with a vast variety of heavy weaponry in their armory vaults deep beneath the soil of their homeworld of Nihil, the Demolishers always seek to deploy their most powerful assets whenever possible to purge the threat they have been tasked to eradicate. Whew.
Holy plosives.
A common source of strategy for the Demolishers is to advance towards an enemy force aboard their transports underneath a devastating raining bombardment from their tanks and ships in orbit. Whatever survives their storm of eradication... Oh my god, we've got a fucking battle plan in here as well. Whatever survives their storm of eradication, their infantry will rid them of existence. Their infantry will rid them of Yeah! They're rumored to wield long-sanctioned weaponry. The long-sanctioned weaponry that destroys squads. Alright, fuck, we're done. No, I'm not reading the rest. We're moving on to the next one. Fuck you, Cambridge.
Thank you so much for
Get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face. Cambridge, you actually,
Guys,
bro. Someone take his moderator away. Get this guy the fuck out of my face. Actually, what the fuck?
I hope you've all learned. Hope you've all learned from a stunning example.
I am in pain.
Okay, I'm reading this. I'm already thinking. What is an accipiter? I'm googling this.
Yeah, Google. Tell me, please. Cambridge,
it's a bird.
Oh, great. Couldn't call them the eagles or the hawks or the vultures. You had to call them some. All right, cool, whatever. Thank you, Cambridge, for admitting that they are a cautionary tale. When I see you next, I'm going to turn you into a fucking pretzel.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Borg, for the 250 bits. Much appreciated, my dude.
Oh my lord! All right.
It's Latin for hawk. You couldn't just call them hawk. The Bronze Hawks would have been... The Bronze Hawks is a way fucking cooler name, Aaron, than the Bronze Accipiters.
I also say accipiter is a species of bird. Just be aware. So I'm thinking that they're this little funky guy, little accipiter.
Hi, I am Aaron, and I am
cute.
very scared. You should be scared, sir, because Cambridge has, put me in kill mode, and you've just presented me with the Bronze Not Hawks, you bastard.
They're relatives to sparrowhawks. Interesting.
The Bronze Sparrows would have been way better. The Bronze Hawks would have been way better. Okay, I'm gonna chill. Peace, zen, harmony. Don't do shit like this for the sake of being unique. You can just call the chapter the Bronze Hawks. It sounds way more 40k than the Bronze fucking Accipiters. Zarrek, this one's all yours.
All right.
Cambridge tried to kill me.
An attempt has been made on your life. Perhaps you need to dissolve the Galactic Senate.
Yep. The word you can't see at the end is forget.
That's alright. I'll read from the Discord here. So.
Okay.
Chapter Tactics: Guerrilla and Sabotage Warfare.
The chapter's outlook on the fronts of war is that of misdirection, calculation, and creating opportunity, like the nature of a hawk. They map out
Sorry, they call them the Bronze Accipiters, and he's put the word hawk in the first fucking sentence! Sorry, Zarrek, I will shut up now. I will shut up now.
Yes,
you got this.
yes. Be nice. Be nice, Tom.
Alright, peace.
They map out operations with the intention to get enemies lost in the evolutions of warfare. These fast-paced operations evolve and diverge as quickly as their enemies learn to adapt. When the enemy creates a wall, the Accipiters will often have the next barge primed to bring that wall down.
Sorry, chat. I would flirt with you all again in an exceedingly inappropriate manner. However, I'm afraid that I must admit I'm eating more custard cream biscuits. They're really not very nice. I mean, they are nice. I like them, but I'm not enjoying them right now. I know that I'm eating them just because they've got like sugar in them, and that's like, oh no, dopamine, you know. Bring her back and shoot her again for good measure. Are the custards more important than me? Yes. Welcome back. Sorry, Zarrek. Apparently we were getting a scrap code once more.
All right. Well, glad you pulled me there. Let's resume.
These fast-paced operations evolve and diverge as quickly as their enemies learn to adapt. When the enemy creates a wall, the exhibitors will often have the next barge primed to bring that wall down, turning their enemy's own evolution into a staging ground for their demise, mobilizing multiple squads as a single spearhead to ensure success. Although this can never be a constant in the 41st millennia. When faced with threats that do not play into the apex of their strategies, these Marines will use their natural hunting instincts as their next developments, vanishing under the cover of environmental advantages they can find. They will attack in short strikes and stalk the shadows of a battlefield until an opportunity arises for them to turn foes to dust under melter and plasma fire, swarming enemies like a wave of vultures picking at dying flesh. At the core, they are his birds of prey upon those who wage war as a catalyst for advancement and forget the disaster it brings.
Okay. I think we have some really good bones here. I have 2 critiques. Forgetting the fucking Astartes debacle, I have 2 major critiques. The first is that a good chunk of your first paragraph is a battle plan, and then you've clearly noticed that as you've written it and gone, well, if this doesn't work, and then you've written an actual combat doctrine afterwards. Which is like, from a reader's perspective, is very fucking like, I would fucking kill that entire first paragraph and try to find the core elements of it and introduce those into the second paragraph. And by second paragraph, I do mean this bit, not this gimped sentence in the middle. Because this chunk here is like 10 times better than all of this. You hear me? This chunk here, this second big chunk is infinitely better than this first chunk. This first chunk is... it dawdles until it breaks into a battle plan, and then you go and this. Never say this. If you have to say, although we can't ensure we do this all the time, but if that doesn't work, we do X. If you have to say that, then you're kind of admitting to your reader that you haven't really written a combat doctrine. You're kind of admitting to your reader that you've written something incorrect, right? You know. It's like, hey, here's you've written Plan A and then you've written Plan B, and Plan B is more of a combat doctrine, and Plan A is more Plan A, with the exception of the first sentence. It's a tough one as well. Similar to the last homebrew, we covered, the combat doctrine we covered. You've got a lot of language in here that is very literal. There's not a huge amount of flavor. There is some, but there's not a huge amount of flavor. Some of these sentences are disgusting. This final sentence, for example, is fucking horrific. Upon those who wage war as a catalyst for advancement and forget the disaster it brings. It's like, huh? I don't know. It just feels like you've gone out of your way to pick big words that don't actually add any emotional value or intrigue to what it is you're writing. Yeah. So be more concise and be more flavorful is probably the advice I'd give. Because if we condense this down to its core elements and introduce like a teaspoon of like actual fluff, I think you'd have bones for a really good combat doctrine. You know? Also, please change their chapter name to the Bronze Hawks or something else for the love of all that's holy. Please, I'm begging you, dog. I'm begging you. Zarrek?
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, actually, exhibitors would be really good for a guard regiment, right? Or maybe a scion regiment. That's exactly the kind of name they would take.
Yeah.
So consider that. Like, words have a particular connotation with 40k, especially if you're describing Latin, i.e., High Gothic. It's more that sort of High Gothic language will be used for the whole name, not part. Like, you think about the Space Wolves and then their counter name, the Volca Fenrica. They're not,
Yeah.
the Volca Wolves or anything, They stick to one language at a time. So generally avoid Latin unless you are doing something like the Scions who have some sort of weird semi-educated vibe going on.
Yeah. I mean, I got an ad way. Well, Ultron or Aaron, you'll just have to watch the VOD. Right. I will say, though, watching this when you're watching the VOD, I will say the last thing you should do is to get a bit more physical elements in there. You said, under Melt and Plasma Fire, that's good. I really like use their natural hunting instincts. But as their next developments, that's another example of you being needlessly verbose. It doesn't really add anything, and it just kills how concise it is. I feel like you could really benefit from spending half an hour talking to David, honestly, because he would do a lot of work on this. The way he thinks and looks at written works would really benefit this one. Right, let's move on. Das Rat. Are you in the room? Is there a rat in the room with us? Do we have a rat? We'll give you there he is. Present, thank you for the sweet words during the lonely moments, Tom. Well, I think we can get the word sweet out of that sentence, but I appreciate your sincerity nonetheless. Let's get Das Rats open. Okay, another chapter name that I'm not going to like, but I will get over it. I will live, Oh, God. I think, guys, just for context, a lot of the dislike from chapter names that I'm expressing is like, I'm not a big fan of the Mitre Saints chapter name. I don't like it very much. I've spoken about this on stream before, I think. I'm not a big fan of it. There's like a bazillion other names I can think of that I would prefer if I had called the chapter something else. But because of like the YouTube and the stream and the homebrew stuff, I can't feasibly change their name without confusing loads of people. So I'm just keeping them as the Mitre Saints. And then I see people who have like decent homebrew ideas, and then they call their chapter something stupid. And it's like, no, you can still change it, please. You know what I mean? Anyways, yeah, right, cool. New video idea coming up with chapter names? No, you can describe that in like 4 paragraphs. It's actually really straightforward. You can always tell when someone's come up with a chapter name whether they've actually taken like 5 minutes to look at what canon chapter names are out there or not. Like the most out there name you can do is something like what Zarrek's done, the Knights of the Blanched Hollow, and you might be like, well, Tom, that doesn't sound blah, blah, blah. And that's using the Guardians of the Covenant as precedent. You can do Complex of the Complex. Is one. Someone in here who's actually submitted a combat doctrine has done that. I think it's Penumbra. Has called their chapter Knights of the Blood Oath. I think that's a wonderful chapter name. I think that's a great chapter name. I don't know if I was talking to you or Croc or Moops about it, but I think that's a wonderful chapter name, because again, we're using the precedent set down by the Guardians of the Covenant, keeping it simple, keeping the of the. Yeah, it's really, really good. Right, let's.
If I may, actually, most important thing I think about a name is not just to study how it's done in lore and how other chapters do it, but to pick the name with very particular intent, to know why you're doing that and what parts of it are for compliance with the standard and what parts are a bit odd, what bits you're making a bit more unique or a bit more complex.
Yeah, I think there's another follow-up to that. So actually, here's a fun one. I mean, this isn't all of them. You can have a bad chapter name even if you don't do this. This isn't like an immediate fix. But if you have to Google a word in the chapter name, you've done it wrong. You've never seen a Space Marine chapter and gone, I have to Google that. Google what that word means. In fact, there's only 1 or 2 in canon that are like that. As Mario's just brought up, not all canon chapter names are good chapter names. That's very true. A really bad one is the Sons of what's that? What's the guys? What the fuck?
Arthur. No, that's the fucking
Nah,
dragon
the
from
sun-
Skyrim.
I was about to say that shit as well. Yeah, the Sons of, and then it's the name of the chapter master who's only been a chapter master for like a decade, right? And so it's like, oh, that's a stupid as fuck name, right? No, not Sons of Ara. Ara's a planet, and it's a planet that has relevance in the Horus Heresy, so it's fine. I still think calling them Sons of X, where X is anything other than something synonymous with their Primarch, is a bit silly. But that's just me.
I think also, like, Sons of Auror works because Auror is such a short word that it doesn't get in the way, right?
Yeah, you said
Your focus isn't necessarily drawn to that.
Yeah. The Draken Harbingers is... Draken, come on, dog. It's like, why don't you just say dragon, Drake, something, Draken? It's like... And then at some point during this, I'm going to find out that Draken is actually something else. I don't know. It's like there's a level of complexity that you can add for the whole. Anyway, right. Let me read the thing. Let's read the thing. Is this my one? This is my one, isn't it? Yes. So this is Dasrat. The Draken Harbingers, Codex non-compliant. Okay. Shock assault and attrition warfare. Before we go any further, I will say this right now: no Space Marine chapter in 40k can do attrition warfare. Period. Before I even read this, I can tell you've not read your source material, my guy. Space Marines in 40k cannot do attrition warfare. Attrition warfare does not exist for Space Marines. There are only 1,000 Space Marines in a chapter, sometimes a little bit more, usually a little bit less. You cannot characterize attrition properly with a whole chapter of Space Marines. This is doubly true when you realize how Space Marines operate, and that only like one canon in chapter, one chapter in canon, endeavors to operate as a large unit comprised of most of the chapter in one place. 99.999% of chapters split off and come back together again because so they can spread out their reach and actually make a difference. Because all clumping in one place does not make a difference in the universe.
If I may, I think perhaps what you may intend to go with is this idea that they're forcing attrition on their enemy, in which case that would be siege warfare, and that is a much more standard
yes, that's true.
Tactic.
Absolutely, 100%. By attrition warfare, I refer to them standing their ground against overwhelming force, being a wall enemies smash themselves upon. That is siege warfare. That's right. Attrition warfare is the First World War, where two forces have an incalculable number of motherfuckers they throw at each other, and the winner is the guy who has more motherfuckers. Yeah.
Siege warfare or defensive warfare. Like, if you mean they are defensive in nature, then defensive. But if you mean that they are there, as the ones to besiege and to take, then siege is better.
Yeah, we come back up to the Victorious Sons again. Defensive doctrine, siege warfare. That's what you're looking for. Yeah, maybe a non-codex compliant version of that, but that is generally what you're going for. Or just defensive warfare, as Penumbra said, a mix of the two. Yeah, for sure. Right, let me give this a read. I've just realized I'm having to shrink the font size in all of these because these are all like huge. It's like I want to do 2 paragraphs, but I want to do 2 big paragraphs. All right, let's give this a read, shall we? When a battlefield is graced by the singeing gaze... Singeing?
Singeing.
Is that cool? By the singeing gaze of the Draken Harbingers, they often join it as a meteoric cascade, rain down upon the debased enemy formations like the very hammer strikes from the Lord of... Oh my god, okay. Very verbose. Immediate to follow the initial devastation of their eruption, torrents of merciless burning purification cleanse the foe's sin of existence. Whatever miscreants avoid becoming the char after the fire, the slag after the plasma and melter, and the ash after the volkite, are subsequently dismembered by the incinerating touch of crackling power weapons masterfully crafted by their wielders to match the artisanry of Nocturne's forges, or are simply crushed underfoot. Few can remain standing in the face of the inherited fury that once fought its vengeful way through the crucible of the drop site massacre. Oh my god. Drop site. Okay. Like an unyielding living wall of fire that clears a field of weeds in preparation for cultivation. Once bulkheads have been breached, or a world's crust has been cratered, the Drakens surge and split forward into lava flows specialized to bring an inevitable end to any challenges, their infectious inferno stoking the embers of zeal within their allies. Stubbornly refusing to yield any ground to their own bitter end if necessary for victory through concentrate. I'm going to stop here. I'm sorry, Zarrek, I got to stop here. There's just so much faff repeated information. And so here's the problem, my dude. You have, like, tried to write everything as excessively as possible. This is not fluff. This is just, like, what's the opposite of concise? Get my thesaurus up.
Verbose.
Verbose, yeah. It's that you've tried to be as verbose as possible in exchange for writing actual fluff. There's also things in here that make me go, huh? Like forgetting like the verboseness of it. There's actually some stuff in here that's just completely like unnecessary. For example, subsequently dismounted, or simply crushed underfoot. You could have literally just written are simply crushed underfoot, and the flow would have been infinitely better. And we'd have still had the motif that they come in and beat the fuck out of whoever's left. Also, the next problem is that this is a battle plan here. You've written a battle plan, but you've written it so verbosely that you've tried to hide it, but it's not hidden very well. You know? Sorry, Zarrek, you please.
I want to say, I think I quite like what that sentence was trying to do there, right? Immediate to follow the initial devastation of their eruption, torrents of merciless fire. If that were a bit shorter, the way that it goes, surviving the torrents of merciless fire. Whatever miscreants avoid becoming char after the fire, the slag after the plasma and melta, and ash after volkite. This listing there, that sentence, really good. You could shorten it a bit. You could call it slag after energy weapons, just to concatenate it a bit more, right?
Yeah.
And also Volkite's a little bit questionable, but for a second millennium,
yeah.
we have some new Volkites. I guess you got some of those.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't mention what is a relic item as an element of your combat doctrine, because even Neo Volkite is a relic item that you see only on captains and veteran sergeants. So it's a really fucking strange thing to put in a combat doctrine. How's it going, Mooks?
Just joined us.
Yeah, he is. He's in the fucking middle of buttfuck nowhere at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we found out something funny. He said that it was like, oh yeah, the hike is only 3 miles, and Aaron and I or Croc and I was like, oh, that's not really a long hike. And then he's like, no, it's 3 Swedish miles. Apparently a Swedish mile is 10 miles.
That's funny. I think in Scotland,
like
in Scotland we have a slightly different mile, right? Because originally, there were several different kinds of mile. There were Scottish miles, there were English miles, there were Welsh miles, there were Irish miles, and they were all different.
This was the other day when he told me this was the first I'd ever heard of that.
You didn't see the bit in Horrible Histories.
No, because obviously an English mile, which I thought was just a mile, is the same as what the Americans use, which is what the same as, I don't know, the Australians use, the Japanese use, the Indians use. Everyone's using mile as the same measurement. And then what? You're telling me the Scottish and the Swedish have gone, no, it's different for us.
It's everyone. We use the English mile now.
I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of problems with colonialism. That isn't one of them. Right. So Rat, I'm gonna be straight with you, dog. A lot of verboseness, a lot of fluff. You've hidden some mistakes or tried to hide some of these mistakes in the verboseness. Really condense this down to its core elements, my dude.
The one thing I do think you've done well.
Sorry, last point, real quick. Sorry, I will let you take. We'll end on something positive.
Yeah.
Really quick. We said at the start of the stream that you need to read your stuff aloud, and you'll be surprised what you find when you do. This is the best example of that. Because if you had read this aloud, to the wall or to somebody before you, committed to it, I think you'd have clocked onto about 2/3 of the issues we've brought up. It's very interesting. It's very sorry, Zarrek, please. And Moots says doing good. About to sleep under a wind tarp, being really good. But excited to come home tomorrow. Moots, I hate to tell you, I'm afraid your chili plant has died in your absence. Sorry, Zarrek, please.
Sleep under a wind tarp. That'd be lovely. All right. I want to say, I think the best part about this is that you have a really fun, very consistent running metaphor here with this idea of the chapter as the eruption of a volcano, like streaking lava, meteoric cascade, like the debris that falls down. This visual language is a really, really good element that you can use to hold your combat doctrine together. But you can't just lean on it for all elements here. It's a very good start to the thematics. I think thematics they're well defined here, but we do need a bit more, because like any Salamander's successor could be described in a similar way. And I think what you need to carve out for yourself is what is unique here. What else makes them like a volcano, or what elements of the volcano or mantle of a world are they akin to?
Excellent. Right, we're going to move on now to the next one, because Zarrek, we have Sisters of Battle next. I've just gone ahead and read it. There's a few problems I have with it, but it's still pretty cool.
Okay.
Would you like to take this one?
Of course.
So this is the Order of Vermilion Absolution. I love that name. Sisters of Battle just get the best fucking names. Nico, are you with us, Nico? Are you here? Come on, Nico, you better be here. Nico's here. Nico's here, right? This one's all yours.
Right. Lovely. Let's go.
The Order of Vermilion Absolution marches to war with bellicose chants of penance and absolution. At the front of this processions, the Vermilion Absolution sends the penitents to slam into enemy lines, with repentia spilling into any broken formations. Behind these penitent hosts, Sisters of Battle sanctify and redeem those who die in these absolver assaults. Stepping through these waves of redemption, seekers come, the rest of the order.
Oh, I see.
Stepping through these waves of redemption seekers come the rest of the order.
This is why commas are important.
Yeah.
Sister whose blood-red gauntlets echo the order they split from. In great feats of martial combat and endurance, these sisters tear into those heretic lines that have not yet been broken, seeking nothing but the shattering of the false faith of the enemy, or death in a duty done. For there is absolution only in death.
This is so close to being kind of cool, and just fails in two of the most horrific ways. I want you to know, Nico, that I really like this, even though I shouldn't. And I'll tell you why I shouldn't. Because this isn't a fucking combat doctrine. You've written a battle plan. The whole first paragraph is, here's who they are and what they do. This first sentence is good. Actually, the first sentence is good. The problem is you say absolution twice. You want to change the second absolution for a synonym. But forgetting that, the first sentence is good. The second sentence is a battle plan. It is just a battle plan. It is straight up just, oh yeah. Also, two sentences. Oh no, there's a three sentences there. It's just straight up a battle plan. And then your third sentence continues with the battle plan. And then the second paragraph begins. Fourth sentence continues with the battle plan. And then we get to some more descriptive stuff in there, which is actually pretty good. But then the second thing you kind of fall down on is, this has not had a grammar check. You have not shown this to anyone before posting it. Zarrek almost died reading this. But I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for Sisters of Battle.
Mm-hmm.
If someone had written the same thing about this for Space Marines, I'd probably be fucking shooting them right now. Because, why wouldn't I? But this is cool. I like this. I like Sisters of Battle. I like the idea. I can see what you're going for. You're going for an order that is heavy on the repentia. It's heavy on its own penitence. It's heavy on its self-flagellation. Those are the tones you want to look for. Stop listing off the order in which they do things. You're not making a battle plan here. You're describing the way they do war as if it were a personality. Yeah. This is why probably the best section of your whole thing is probably like your first sentence and like the last sentence. In great feats of martial combat, sorry, the last two sentences. In great feats of martial combat and endurance, these sisters tear into those heretic lines that have not yet been broken. There's a bravery in that. There's this indomitable spirit in that, seeking nothing but the shattering of the false faith of the enemy or death in a duty done. For there is absolution only in death. It's very verbose. It's worded kind of incorrectly. Again, you need to sit down with someone and like actually sort out your grammar and your sentence structure, because it's kind of crippled. I'm not going to lie. But I can see what you're going for. I can visualize what it is you're trying to do here. I feel like if you could sit down with David or someone you know who likes to write and with this for like 45 minutes, it would be really cool. I love the idea of an Sister of Battle Order that is full on that fucking repentance thing. And making an overt use of repentia, because you have included repentia in a way that is correctly going to fulfill the visual elements your reader needs. The only problem is that it feeds into a battle plan, not a combat doctrine. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I think what I want to know reading this is, what place do the repentia have in their order? Like, what is that to them? Because I understand that they are about absolution and they have a very strong theme of utilizing repentia.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what significance that has within their culture. What is that for them? And that's something that you can explore in this combat doctrine. You've got the right flavor here that I'm confident you could weave that in quite nicely. But I want to know a little bit more in the abstract, right? I want to know what this means, right? You've told us what they do, but I also need to know what that means to them.
Yeah. But no, good framework, good first attempt. I think you know where we're going for. Would you believe this is like take 4 or 5? No, I'm afraid not, Nico. I'm terribly sorry.
Read it out loud. Right. Once again. Read it out loud.
Yeah. Stop doing takes then. If this is take 4 or 5, stop doing takes. Start collaborating with people who you trust their written ability. Sit down, take this shit to Homebrew, Strict, Casual, Lore-Text Dump. Ping the fuck out of David. Ping the fuck out of Mario. Get them, say, hey, Tom said you guys can help me. And when they tell you, well, let them have a go at me. They won't have a go at you. Let them have a go at me. But get someone who knows how to write to sit down with you and do this, because you have a decent enough framework here. If you can find someone who understands how to write creatively on this, you're going to be steered in the right direction. But if this is attempt 4 or 5 and you're still coming into the same problems, it's time for you to seek some external assistance, I think, for sure. Mm-hmm. Right, Zarrek, I need to use the bathroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the next one up. Who's fucking using it? Kalinectes. Is that how that's pronounced? Kalinectes?
Kalinectes! Do we got a Kalinectes?
Oh, there he is. I'm here, bear with me, I'm at work. Okay, well, we can't bear with you whilst you're at work, but what we can do is we can post what you've written, and I can let Zarrek take it from there. We can't stop you whilst you're at work, my dude. That's not how this works, but thank you. Let me just scroll down.
Wouldn't you know, we also are technically at work.
I mean, I'm about to be at the bathroom, but yeah, that you know. I don't know what faction this is. I think we have to assume it's Space Marines, because... Oh, yeah, it's Space Marines. Yeah, he's not written a faction. Combined arms, multi-vector attack, oceanic deployments. Oh, thank God you're doing this one. Fucking hell. Right, I'll be back in a few minutes, Zarrek. It's on you.
All right. I'll give this a read, and then we'll get into the review.
Oh, and if you're like voice like scrap codes again, just like go silent till I'm back.
Wonderful. Right, I'm so happy to hear that. Right, so you're lucky, Kalinectes, that I am here.
Whether they plunge directly into the battlefield by pod and gunship, or rise as one from the churning roil of the coasts, the sea scorpions do so knowing the target has already been charted, pinged, and dredged by their vanguard. Dredged is very good. By the time the waves of Marines, tanks, and aircraft crash upon the enemy's broadside, That unholy materiel has already been thoroughly compromised. Whether it knows it or not, the hated villain is already adrift and gasping for oxygen, their lifelines severed. The sea scorpions will mercilessly increase the pressure until their adversary crumples under the Marines' unyielding might. When it breaks, and it will break, it finds only the Vanguard's brutal traps and ruthless ambushes where there should be safe harbor, and the chapter proper in implacable pursuit. Thereby, the sea scorpions crush their prey in their raptorial pincer.
So I have to move over here because I'm covering up a bit.
Thereby, the sea scorpions crush their prey in their raptorial pincer, drown the enemy in a cupric tide of cutlass and cannon, and see their foe dragged down to its cold, grim fate.
I'm assuming
The depths.
I'm assuming this is a joke chapter.
I'm not necessarily sure. I think there are some very good word choices here, and
No,
I think
I've caught
but...
that. It's just Space Marines. There's a reason there's like only one canon story that space. Is this like actual ocean fighting, or is this like void
It's
war?
themes. I believe these are the themes, right? They're like,
well, the reason
they
I
are
ask
drowning everything in that metaphor, right?
the reason I ask is because this person's specifically written oceanic deployments and specialty. So I'm gonna, before you go into your explanation, I will say, Kalanectes, this isn't something that Astartes do or specialize in, and the reason that is because the humble Thunderhawk exists. There is no reason that a space marine needs to go underwater and do fucking anything, let alone specialize in such a useless strategy or tactic, when the humble Thunderhawk goes, ah yes, enemy target is in water. We obliterate them from orbit, or from the sky, or from literally anything. I don't know. I think I'm letting my prejudice get the best of me right now, because I've read like 3 or 4 homebrews where it's this. It's like Space Marines, but water. And all 4 of them were ass for the same reasons. So it's but you're telling me that the combat doctrine isn't actually that. It's just using that as a thematic fulcrum.
Yeah, maybe I'm being generous, but I really like the thematics here because we've got oceanic language used throughout, because they are the sea scorpions. That is their chapter name.
It is a theme. So they don't actually do oceanic deployments, is what you're saying, Connectees. They don't actually do that. Okay, cool. Tom, water can be deep and things can be built under it. Yeah, missiles can go pretty deep.
Yeah. What I'm imagining, right, is that they'll sometimes use like water as an ambush, because I'm imagining they're probably from an ocean world if they have the name sea scorpions or something, right?
Sure.
I'm getting a strong visual actually from them. And I get this idea that, they take advantage of the fact that Marines' armor is environmentally sealed. This would allow for a particular kind of beach assault, which is kind of interesting, but very, very niche. I think it's appropriate that it is listed as their 3rd specialty, not their 1st. But I really like it's their culture and toughest training zone. That makes sense. I imagine they come from an ocean world, or maybe a world of like many archipelagos, perhaps.
Sorry, I was going to quickly interrupt. I'll stop bitching in just a moment. Aragon's got a point. He says, how do we deal with aquatic? How does the Imperium deal with aquatic warfare? Aragon says, like we do IRL with aerial warfare. We solved battleships back in World War II, folks. Thank you, Aragon. Yeah, this is kind of the reason why I find it a bit kind of like, because it's not some place we need to worry about fighting. It's not a location that Space Marines, let alone human beings in general across the Imperium, need to worry about fighting. It's like the only Imperial battleship, like oceanic battleship that exists, is that one that was put into War Thunder? Oh, was it War Thunder?
Well, I think, yeah. But I think there's also well, to be fair, there is that whole bit of Hell's Reach, right, with the Orc naval armada and all of their submarines.
Yeah,
that's a whole thing.
That is
I imagine the Orcs do it a lot more. But as I understand it, the Imperium do have vessels that are primarily shipping in nature for the water anyway.
Presumably,
But
I mean, the Imperium have
yeah.
everything for everything, right? Especially
Yeah.
if you leave the military stuff behind. You know,
Mhm.
you've got worlds that are, hey, this is the human race just before the Industrial Revolution. Hey, this is the human race today. You know, and as long as we have boats, they'll have boats. But when it comes to the kind of warfare that Space Marines commit to, it's very like, it's very much a question of what the fuck's the point, and then someone chimes up to go, oh, but they can, so I'll do that as my own. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm getting mad.
It's fine. But no, as long as I think it is like their tertiary more motif, that I think is a more appropriate way to measure it,
Yeah.
right? It's a component, but it's not the overriding theme here. And I get that a lot actually. Like from this beginning, I really love how this water theme someone's getting a Subnautica ad drop right now. That's excellent. um so actually, to be fair, it should be said. I do think the Imperium would have use for water specialized soldiers on occasion. There's actually a story, I think it's called Lone Wolf, because it's about one of the Space Wolf lone wolves who's gone out to hunt a Trigon that is like swimming around in an ocean world, and he has to go down there himself and like, cut it apart.
Quickly,
Because
click these. No, I do understand that, my dude. It's just you put it in their specialty, and so I'm like having a fit over it. Go on, Zarrek. Sorry.
But yeah, no, I think this is from a prose standpoint very good. I think it perhaps leans a little bit into battle plan, but I think it's generally well couched in that it's not explicit in that way. Though it could, I think, stand for some improvement there. What I really like is how these nautical themes come up constantly. This idea of whether they plunge directly into the battlefield by pod or gunship, or rise from one of the churning, rises one from the churning whirl of the coast. Sea Scorpions do so knowing that the target has already been charted, pinged, and dredged. Which I was a bit like, I wasn't certain on the pinged, but the as I see it come together, I kind of like the theme. It's a little bit silly. It could use, I think, a little bit of toning down. I think it's a bit overbearing.
Yeah.
But I really like it. It's very fun to me.
For sure, yeah. Just a heads up, guys, we are getting through as fast as we can, but the stream's only going to go on for another 15 minutes. So I don't know how many more we'll get through to. So if we don't get to yours, we're very sorry.
Now, Tom, feel free to unleash your cruelty.
No, I've already done it. It's just,
Okay.
I sorry, it's like, I'm all open for doing weird shit. And I'm for doing weird shit with chapters, especially from a thematic standpoint. It's like here with these language choices, right? That's fine. I just get to, it's for me, if I'm reading like some 40k homebrew, I am taken out of the magic the second someone tries to depict Space Marines doing some bullshit that there's no reason for a Space Marine to actually ever do, let alone have an entire chapter specialize in. Cause the problem is, it's like, okay, could a chapter specialize in that? And does a chapter physically have the ability to? Probably. But why would they? You know, it's like Space Marines are rare as rocking horse shit. They are the best of the best. When a Space Marine rocks up to a war zone, it's because they are absolutely needed. 99% of distress calls go unanswered, etc., etc. And you're telling me there's 1,000 of these guys who've just, thought to specialize in one of the most worthless, dumbass war zones imaginable. And it just feels like a gross mischaracterization of what makes Astartes special. It's like, here are these great warriors. Also, here's a group of them. They're dumb as you know what I mean?
I get it. I think the reason that nautical themes might brush up the wrong way is because typically those are better handled by the themes inherent to void combat, right?
Sure,
and
yeah.
that kind of navy. And so 40k really doesn't like to stick its nose into the nautical. It loves the space nautical, but it hates the literal nautical, right?
Yeah. No, for sure. Right, let's move on to the next one. Who's next? Zeech, aka Deft. Deft, are you with us still? Thank you so much, Penumbra, for the 100 bits. So what I'm hearing is we're going to get a Combat Doctrine Part 3 at some point. Maybe. Thank you, Deft. Deft is here. Right. Oh, we got another one that's triggering me, Zarrek. I'm so sorry. Zarrek, help. Why are they all like this?
The first step, Tom, is to have kindness in your heart.
It died when I met Aaron.
You're a cruel man.
I don't know about that, but I'm certainly an impatient one. Okay, the Pale Crows, chapter tactics, enemy sabotage and covert ops. Enemy sabotage is one thing. Covert ops is hard for Space Marines, but I suppose we can make that work.
Raptors did it pretty good.
Yeah, they don't really specialize in that though. They just do it as part of their thing in the same way that the Raven Guard do, and like technically the Black Guard as well. Although it's a technically in bold and italics.
Yeah, very technically.
Yeah. Combat Doctrine. When the Imperium of Man first... That's grandiose as fuck. When the Imperium of Man first bestrode the galaxy and battled the innumerable enemies of humanity, they did not settle for merely defeating them. An example had to be made of mankind's supremacy over its inferiors. The Pale Crows carry this belief in every battle they engage in, bathing in the foes of mankind in the shadow of the Imperium's brilliance. Oh, bathing the foes. Okay. Introductory paragraph is fun one. Thank you for the 200 bits, Calignites. Much appreciated, my dude. The workings of this secretive chapter of the Adeptus Astartes are shrouded in darkness. Sorry, in darkness. And enigma as its warriors. Silhouettes in the pole sabotage? What does pole mean?
Like shadow.
Oh, pole. Oh shit! The shadowy shadows.
Yeah, the shadowy.
The shadowy shadows.
The darkness.
The silhouettes in the pole sabotage critical infrastructure. Enemy aircraft are shredded and vehicles eviscerated under the cover of night, or hostile are led into kill zones, unknowingly delivered to the forces of Pale Crows for Bolter and Flame. Foes find their combat operations ruined and death encroaching on all sides. The countless foul Xenos and heretics that purge the galaxies. For the countless foul Xenos, these angels of death lie in wait. Their wings tipped to lead them into the waiting hands of death before a lightning claw from the black grasps their throat to bring the end. The only proof of their existence? A lone white feather acts as a harrowing sign that their days were numbered. Finality delivered with a feather. As the Emperor of Mankind... Is this AI generated? Am I going to kill you live on stream?
Oh no. An M dash.
No, it's not the M dash. I mean, there is an M dash, mind you. That last line is very, like, finality delivered with a feather. I will say this, though, Deft. Even if it's not AI generated. I mean, that last line spooked me, but even if it's not, there is some fucking gruesome, I don't want to say word choices, but like sentence structure throughout this whole thing. Let me find one. An example had to be made of mankind's superiority over its inferiors. That technically doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. It doesn't quite sit right in that.
Silhouettes in the pole, sabotage, critical infrastructure, enemy aircraft, shredded vehicles, cover of night, or hostiles. This is all. That's one sentence, by the way. That is all one sentence. Foes find their combat operations ruined and death encroaching on all sides. Again, this is like really strange. I don't think it's AI, by the way. I'm just fucking with you. Foes find their combat operations. Yeah, well, I mean, there's an M. No, I'm joking. Foes find their combat. This is technically like this is a really fucking strange. I feel like this is again much like the last one. I feel like you need to sit down. Not the last one, but the one before. I feel like you need to sit down with someone who knows like how to write properly and restructure a lot of these sentences. For the countless foul Xenos and heretics that purge the galaxy, these angels of death lie in wait. Why not just these angels of death lie in wait? You know, there's a lack of conciseness here that feels like, and again, this is the same thing I talked about at the start of the stream when people try to do 3 paragraphs for their combat doctrines, or 3.5 paragraphs in this case, where you just end up using like either repeated information or useless information or filler information. You know, it's like, this doesn't add anything. This is just filler. Their wings. This I think this fucked me up when I read it. Their wings tipped to lead them into the waiting hands of death before a lightning claw from the black grasps their throat to bring the end. It's like, this is such a bizarre like sentence structure, and the sort of the choice of the locations of these words and such. And then you change to an entirely different tone at the very end, which is what makes me kind of not like this. I think this is why I thought it was AI generated for a brief second, because like this section here. I don't think it's AI generated, by the way, but this section here is like, fucking what? The only proof of their existence, ? A lone white feather acts as a harrowing sign that their days were numbered. Were numbered? You've changed tense completely. Like, so it's, Finality delivered with a feather, as the Emperor of Mankind demands. It's like, I don't know, man. It just feels like you kind of winged it with the whole thing. This feels like a first draft.
I do like the first paragraph. There's a lot of power to it.
It is a first draft, he says.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That'll happen. I think if you're opening like that with your first paragraph, I think you need to keep that tone consistent, right? There is this idea of legacy, right? This idea of trying to stay true to the original intent of the Imperium that is brought about by this, and it doesn't quite come through in the rest. But if you're going to like reapproach this, I would say take those last 3 bits there and try and evoke the same ideas. But if you want to play into this idea of attempting to be what the Imperium was, this idea of trying to stay true to its origins, that's a very fun identity, especially for a Raven Guard successor who's doing kind of non-standard style combat for an Imperial army.
For sure. Yeah, I can see where you're going with this. There's kind of an essence to this combat doctrine that I think has potential. But you need to fulfill it by like doing a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fucking draft. I want to slap you upside the head for making us review a first draft on stream. You know what I mean? Even fucking, who was it? Nico came in with a 4th or 5th draft. Even if it's worse on the 4th or 5th draft, like, come on, man. Right. We're done with this one. Goodbye, Pale Crows. So the next one will probably be our last one. Kaiju, are you here? No, much appreciated, Deft. Thank you for taking it in your stride. Kaiju, how's it going, my dude?
Oh, music issues, apparently.
There you go, I can just turn it off. I can just turn it off.
What?
I'll bring it back in a minute. And you guys can tell me if it's fine.
Oh, am I? Someone screamed Zarrek. Am I also being...
The music
It's me
foretells
too.
Zarrek.
It's me as well! No!
Now, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. You'll take them drawers off, boy. I'm gonna touch you, and I'm gonna feel you.
Alright, am I alright, everyone? Have I recovered? Don't panic.
Does Zarrek sound okay? And does the music sound okay? Someone said, well, I'm already hard. That's unfortunate. It's a terrible sentence.
What did you say to them?
You'll have to check it in the VOD.
Zarrek, he did it again. Norn is happy. Oh god, what did you say, Tom?
The word touch was used once or twice.
Come on, you were talking romantical. Alright, I think I understand. Alright. Oh boy! This will probably be the final one, and he keeps trying to. That's been censored. Oh! Yeah, no, I assumed. Alright then. This is probably gonna be our final one for the evening, and I'm happy to get another chance to voice it. So,
It's all you.
let's go. The Scale Knights, Adeptus Astartes. Chapter Tactics. Stealth and Shock Assault.
Slithering through the shadows, the Scale Knights attack like a serpent, poised to strike. With the swift silence of a knife and the devastating power of a lance, the Marines of Lernoro target their foes' supply and command chains to debilitate the enemy before they are even aware of any threat. Any survivors are hunted and eviscerated, so no knowledge of the Scale Knight's presence can spread to other potential targets. Treating their opponents like a wild beast, volleys of weapon fire from both Astartes and artillery alike aim to distract and create openings. These gaps allow assault squads to rip through the enemy force's vital organs with both ferocity and precision to ensure maximum damage. Once the enemy is reduced to nothing but a broken bone and spilled blood, the warriors of the chapter then stalk back into the gloom from whence they came, in search of another beast to slay. For only in the act of eradication can honor be earned.
Okay, so I've highlighted a few things. The first thing, the easiest to get out of the way, is that like-a. I'm assuming this is also a first draft. Because no self-respecting person would continue to be using the like-a thing in a second draft, and you've used it twice here. Treating their opponents like a wild beast. The Scale Knights attacked like a serpent. It's like, yeah, come on, you can do better than that. It is like, this is you say a thing like another thing in your brain to tell you that you need to come up with a better or more intriguing point of comparison or analogy. You don't apply like-a to the final thing. Thank you, Tim. You take it easy, my dude. Thanks so much for the 200 bits. You have a wonderful night, my dude. The reason I've highlighted these other bits in yellow is because this is a combat doctrine battle plan. The Marines first target the supply chains, and then they come in and kill people. The Marines open up gaps, and then they come in and kill people. It's like you've actually done the same, ostensibly the same battle plan twice in the two paragraphs, when really you shouldn't have done it once in either. You know, you can hint at a battle plan because, like I did with the when I was helping Moot to the Iron Gorges, and I shouldn't have, but obviously I was quite critical about that. But what you've done here is that, but like you've doubled down on it. You need the visual of them in your head to be able to... When I read your combat doctrine, Kaiju, I need to be able to see the Scale Knights in any war zone, in any whatever. This doesn't work if I'm imagining 5 Scale Knights trying... Despite being a stealth chapter, apparently, this doesn't work if I'm trying to imagine 5 Scale Knights trying to do a solo operation. You know, this works if I'm trying to imagine the whole chapter doing war all at once on a very specific battlefield where they are very specifically able to do the first half of their battle plan. You know? And again, this comes back to why doing battle plans in place of combat doctrines is really bad, because it curtails their adaptability. Yeah? You do not want to curtail that. I'm trying to find, maybe Zarrek can help me here, but I'm trying to find the thematics outside of your battle plan, and I cannot find them. I can't. I'm sorry, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so there's a bit here that I think is good to latch onto. And you've got this idea of... I think there's a good idea in the treating the opponents like wild beasts. If you approach this from the idea that they are hunters, right? And they are hunting big game. You get a much more interesting idea here it's sort of like the way the space wolves fight their foes, except not, right?
Sure, yeah.
And you have this idea that honor is earned through the eradication of the enemy. And so this, in the same way, it is a hunt that must be completed. If you want to play into this idea, you've got a lot going on. And so, again, you can tie this into their stealth in this idea that you don't describe exactly how they're going to act, but you can imply that they do not want to spook these animals, right? They're coming in, they arrive to battle unannounced, perhaps, implying that they will arrive and take full advantage of their shock assault through stealth, right? And you really emphasize how they do that as hunters. I think the idea of a hunter here is kind of how you go here. The idea of the Scale Knights being snakes as well as a kind of hunter. Perhaps consider a cold-blooded kind of logic to this, right? A very detached hunter, obsessed with earning honor through the correct means of hunting. These are the scraps that I'm kind of picking up here, and I think you can pull something really cool together from that.
Yeah, for sure. I think I just want to echo Mario's sentiment real quick, though. Be careful about just accidentally making your chapter a Monster Hunter chapter, but do allow yourself to engage in those thematics for your language choices. You'll find they're very effective for this sort of thing. I think that's
exactly.
what you were getting at.
Absolutely, yeah. That they treat, perhaps enemy Astartes or enemy Eldar or any other kind of army as the most deadly prey.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Are we gonna end it there? Is there anything else we are desperate to cover? I just read some fucking awful chat in the moderator channel. In the fucking AA Discord, someone's just said, I wanted to fuck a woman, but I compromised and I jacked off into a tissue. What the fuck?
What are you reading? Don't read that on stream.
Sorry, what? Someone fucking banned this guy. What the fuck did I just read? What the fuck did I just read, dog? Sorry, yeah, what?
Don't put that on
sorry, Kai.
So,
yeah,
guys,
my bad.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been a very fun stream.
Yeah, it's a Sopranos reference. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Sopranos reference.
It's a Sopranos reference. Oh, very good. Wonderful stuff. Right, let's go raid somebody. What the fuck was that?
Joe's streaming.
Is Joe streaming?
She is.
I can never find Joe when I look for the when I press the raid button. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, press the subscribe button.
Subscribe.
Or don't. I'm not your dad. Or maybe I am. Who knows?
To the gaming storyteller.
Who knows? We've all been fast and loose,
Subscribe to me, Zarrek, spelt Zarrek.
Unsubscribe to Zarrek, spelt Zarrek.
Unsubscribe from me so that you can miss one video a year.
And if you're just looking for some advice and you're bored, go to YouTube and look at what Toby Turner's doing. It's fucking weird. The guy's.
We cannot be talking about fucking Tabascus.
I think the guy's actually fucked up.
I know.
He's
I know.
Actual crackhead.
No. I don't want to get into drama with Tabascus.
What do you mean?
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Hold on, I haven't even found Joe yet. I'm still looking through the thing.
Oh my god.
Oh,
what possessed you, Tom? What possessed you?
I found it. Hold up. Let me press the button. Oh my goodness. But no, everyone, you have a wonderful, wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. It's been a treat.
See you guys later.
Fuck Cambridge's homebrews. Yeah, fuck doing aquatic space marines.
They're called marine for a reason, Tom.
Alright, I'm pressing the button. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.